Let's see here if we're live yet. It's coming live on my screen. Okay, I think we're live. We are live. And I'm just going to tweet this out. Oh, did my thing not.
Is my microphone any better? I lowered the volume.
Yep. Sounds
Okay.
better. I'm just gonna add these chats in. Not sure why they didn't load. All right, perfect. John, you're back. All right, so we got Feel Me Once, Pokemon Professor Network. Great podcast if you guys haven't checked it out. Matt, Brelly Camp, man. Dat Boy Muck, David, Robert, Shelby. All right, perfect. We're just going to give a few minutes. Okay, hopefully I can remember all you guys' Twitter. All right. So, Jake, while we're waiting for people, how did you come up with the name They Call Me Jake? Obviously, your name, but I'm not.
Well, you see, about that, I wasn't able to come up with a name on my own, so I just decided that I wanted people to call me Jake because in real life I'm called Jacob, but I wanted people to call me by Jake, so that's pretty much my little story.
Okay, all right, okay.
Very simple.
Best and West, how'd you come up with your name?
Well, my name is actually Best, so I live in the West, so Best and West kind of made sense.
Okay, all right. How long ago did you come up with that name?
Which one, Best and West?
Yeah.
I've been using it. Well, my mom gave me the name Best. It's a birth-given nickname for me, so yeah, Best and West just seemed like a fit since like 7th grade. I don't know.
Since you've been dominating since the 7th grade.
I guess so.
What I'm getting. John, I know you had an interesting name history. Why don't you tell us what your previous Pogo name was before? John, if you're there. All right. Okay. John's ghosting me right now. All right. There's no ghost in this cup, John. Can appear, right? So that's totally fine. All right. Okay. I think we have a decent amount of people joining now.
Hey,
Okay, John.
sorry about that, guys.
Tell your story quickly, and then we're gonna move on to the meta discussion.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Joining now.
Okay, John, you're clearly watching the stream too. Okay, I appreciate that. Okay. John, mute yourself, please. Okay.
Can you guys hear me?
Okay.
Okay, so I first started off my YouTube channel doing regular raids, and
You're clearly watching the stream too. Yeah, I appreciate it.
John, wear some headphones, please.
what is happening here?
It's going. Matt says the meta. You mean Vigoroth and his supporting cast. It's Definitely compelling. We're gonna have some interesting discussions and arguments around Vigoroth. Just mute. Okay. Anyways, John's muted for now. I'm sure he'll come fix this as well. So thank you everyone for joining in this Jungle Cup simplified meta discussion. We're gonna have a lot of really in-depth discussion around the different areas that we've listed out here. Jay Devon is the one that created this meta infographic for us, and just to review, the meta is electric, bug, grass, and normal, with bands of Tropius and the Burmy family. And I think these bands are appropriate to keep the meta balance, especially with Tropius. If Tropius was allowed, then it has an insane win rate, which would make it very difficult and a little too dominating. And speaking with the Self Arena, when I was in Chicago, they find it really important to find balanced meta. And some of you may disagree, but we're going to certainly have some arguments and discussions, especially when it comes to Vigoroth. So, Matt says he doesn't see Kangaskhan. Don't worry, you'll see it a little later, hopefully. So why don't we start off with Jay Devon? If you guys haven't already subscribed to him, you should definitely come check him out. He does a lot of really great battles and has really great editing and posts on almost on the daily or on the daily. And he's the one that actually invented the hashtag battlers, so we can have him to thank for that. So Jay, why don't you start off with this, walking through why you have these different categories there and your thought process around it.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. So thanks for the intro there, King. I very much appreciate it. I don't know if you guys can hear me well or not. Hopefully you can. Now, when I first put together this infographic, it was my first time doing something like this. So it was a great learning experience, not just for graphics and stuff, but for this meta. It really forced me to think a lot. And obviously, I wanted to disclose this is version 1, right? So keep that in mind. V1 is going to stand for version 1. Now, if you look down, the first thing I do want to point out is the grass. This is something that is, for the most part, it can be pretty controversial for this meta. There's a lot of people saying no, a lot of people saying yes. I wanted to still include it in the graphic, again, because the meta, it's brand new, hasn't really developed, it's not very clear. So that's the main reason they're in there, even though it has, Sceptile and Meganium pointing to Vigoroth. Don't take it, for what it is. Very undeveloped still. Now, it's pretty generic for the most part. Everything we can see, for the most part, is pretty obvious, right? As far as what counters what. There could be still more arrows, but I just wanted to show what is going to essentially counter what in the graphic, while also still including different options that are going to counter other things. I mean, Lantern number 1 is starting to make a little bit of waves. I wanted to include Beedrill as well as Venomoth, because I think both of them, as bugs, and will have valid use in this meta. So it is pretty subjective. The wild cards have changed a little bit too. But yeah, it was really fun putting it together. It's going to be changing.
For
Hopefully
sure.
we can get version 2, 3, 4 out pretty soon, etc.
Yeah, for sure. And if you guys are looking for this, Jay's going to be tweeting out afterwards. Jay, what's your Twitter handle?
It's just at OG Devon.
Perfect. The original only. So definitely make sure you're not following any imposters. But I think in this meta, surely we talk about like all the different counters and whatnot. But we also see within this cup, like even with the electrics, we have like rock electric, we have water electric, we have steel electric, we have pure electric, you might have psychic electric. So there's certainly lots of different types. And then we still even have a flyer category, mostly because of that dual typing, where we have bug flyers, normal flyers, and then within the bug types, they actually they can serve pretty dramatically different purposes, and we'll talk a lot about that and how those might play into the meta. But the elephant in the room, or the monkey in the jungle in this, the giant monkey in the jungle, or in this case is about Vigoroth. So Caleb, why don't you walk us through your thoughts on Vigoroth?
Yeah, so I think Vigoroth is pretty meta-defining compared to previous Pokemons in other cups. And I think the main reason behind this is even though there are ways to beat Vigoroth, it doesn't have a really hard counter that resists a lot of its damage that it could deal back. So example of like Tempest, Tropius was really strong, but it got walled off by Altaria, Skarmory, like for example, and then Bastiodon, same thing, very strong, but it gets beat pretty easily by Lucario. So there's a little bit of balance there. Right now, Vigoroth, the only thing I could think of that beats Vigoroth in all shield situations is Heracross, and even then, Vigoroth can do quite a bit of damage to Heracross in the process, so you can't even sit there and farm it with counters or, come out with a lot of life health coming out of it. So I think for that reason, Vigoroth is probably very unique in compared to any other Pokemon in other cups, including Jungle as well. And so it'll be interesting to see how people deal with it. And it'd be really interesting to see if people decide to not run Vigoroth at all in their team of 6, because in some ways that's definitely a huge handicap.
For sure. And I was talking with Squawk Dirty with me and Galtz and some of the key members or more involved members of the Go Stadium Discord. I know they had like a really intense discussion around Vigoroth, and in my opinion, like Vigoroth is the safest meta-defining Pokemon. As you pointed out, it has very few, if any, really true hard counters. But it's also, because it has really great coverage with counter and body slam, no Pokemon in this meta being able to resist both of them. It also means that it's hitting body slam for neutral is both good for coverage, but also means that it can't steamroll the entire team. I would be very surprised to see a Vigoroth beat all 3 Pokemon. Unlike in other meta-defining Pokemon like Lucario or Bastiodon, if you don't bring a check to Lucario or Bastiodon in Kingdom Cup, then it's like it's pretty much over. It's gonna steamroll the entire team. So I think there's a lot of really interesting discussion around Vigoroth. But here's the controversial $1 million question that people were debating in the Go Stadium Discord last night, and I'm sure people have had discussions in their chats on whether or not Vigoroth should have been banned. So we're gonna pick 2 individuals. Caleb, if you guys don't already know Caleb, Season 1 regional winner, appeared in the Season 1 championship. Really great battler, and you should definitely check out his channel. He has a lot of really compelling insights, especially when it comes to anti-meta teams and actually running them in tournaments. And then we're gonna have him go up against Jake from Call Me Jake. His channel, a lot of really he's been posting daily videos. He's been grinding it out, so definitely check out his channel for a lot of really great meta discussions and battles. So who wants to take ban? They should have banned Vigoroth, and who wants to take they shouldn't have banned Vigoroth?
I'll take ban. I have some notes down here.
All right, perfect. Caleb, who wants to go first? Let's let Jake. Why don't you go first on why Vigoroth should have been banned?
All right, so for one, I'm going to be talking about how Vigoroth does against the entire Jungle Cup meta, just based on the PvPoke simulations. So I was reading over the stats of Vigoroth, and without shields, it wins against 80% of the entire Jungle Cup meta. In the 1 shield scenarios, it wins over 2/3 of the matchups against the whole Jungle Cup meta, and then with 2 shields, it also wins slightly over 2/3 of the 2 shielding scenarios against the entire meta. So for one, those stats are incredibly one-sided in the side of Vigoroth. And this other stat that actually surprised me a lot was that Vigoroth, when it has 1 shield, and when your opponent has 0, when Vigoroth has 100% HP, it wins against every single Pokemon in the entire meta. The only 3 Pokemon that it ties against are the Razor Leaf, 3 of the Razor Leaf users. I don't know them off the top of my head, but I was just checking out those stats there. And for 2, he knows Body Slam, which is a very low costing charge move for energy, and it does very high damage per energy at approximately 2.05. Body Slam obviously is very OP. It's spammy. It has a stab, which increases the damage, and it does very widely unresisted damage to pretty much all of the Jungle Cup meta. Along with that, it has a lot of bulk. It has high stamina, and the only 2 Pokemon that can really hard counter it are Breloom and Heracross. And both of those Pokemon will still be taking a ton of damage from those Body Slams, purely because of the fact that Body Slam is a very it's a very low costing move for energy. And I mean, along with that, like, the only real Pokemon in this meta that resists counter are the poison, flying, and yeah, pretty much the poison and flying types.
Yeah.
And I just think it should be banned purely just off those stats, and just the fact that it doesn't have a lot of hard counters to it. So it can definitely, if given like the right scenario with shields, it can plow through an entire team.
For sure. And I think another notable point is that Breloom and Heracross are really great counters to Vigoroth, but they also suffer from dual weakness of like another meta-defining Pokemon, right? Which like if you end up bringing Heracross or Breloom to counter, it leaves you like really vulnerable to flyers, which are surely going to be in a lot of teams of 3. But just one thing, Heracross does beat it with no shields. It's just that you have to straight counter, because like in PV Poke's simulations, they have it doing the charge move, but if you don't do the charge move, it actually beats it with down 1 shield.
Oh, really?
Yeah. There's like if you run the simulation and manually change it where it's just doing counters, it will feint it down with counters, because then Vigoroth ends up shielding the Mega Horn or close combat. It does 1 damage as opposed to doing whatever 12, 14 damage, whatever it does. But so really compelling argument on why they should have banned it. Caleb, with the assistance of your cats, tell us why Vigoroth should not have been banned.
Yeah, I think Jake brought up a lot of good points, especially when talking about the different matchups and how strong Vigoroth is in a 1-versus-1 situation. I think going back to your point, King, earlier, where because it's doing a lot of neutral damage as well, and it's not like it's tanky, but it's not like the tankiest Pokemon of all Great League. It can't run through an entire team of 3, and so in a 1-on-1 scenario, Vigoroth is very, very strong, but there are definitely ways to work around that and beat it in some neutral matchups, or if you have a little more energy or a little more health going into a matchup with Vigoroth, it might take a Pokemon and a half to deal with it. But if you're strong on the back end, you could potentially still beat a team that's running Vigoroth, especially if you have your own. I think something that's interesting about keeping Vigoroth in this cup is it forces all the players to play in a style that's not as comfortable for them. So I think in all the previous cups, there is a hard counter to almost everything, and there is a way to wall off almost every single Pokemon in a cup. Versus in this cup, you don't really have that option, and you have a lot more neutral matchups and more narrow wins against things like Vigoroth. And so I think having it is good for the development of PvP players and the league, because it exposes us to elements in a cup that we're not familiar with. And so the good players will adapt and figure out ways to play around Vigoroth. And I think the players that struggle would have struggled with Vigoroth or without Vigoroth anyway.
For sure. And I think I was talking to I think it's Squawk Dirty with me or Twastel or some of those guys talking about like how they said like in freestyle tournaments, once Pokemon meta-defying Pokemon is used in a cup, they see it run a lot more in freestyle tournaments. So I think Vigoroth is like one of those Pokemon that is really great in freestyle and one of the best Pokemon in Great League. So I think it's important for people to start knowing how to use it. But yeah, it doesn't run through entire teams, and it might also force you to understand like, yeah, you might have to burn 2 shields to their 1 to beat a Vigoroth, but you might also learn the importance of switch advantage, and that might still allow you to win the matchup. And like a lot of these Pokemon have double weaknesses or are frail, especially the electrics, and or are super effective and have resistance. Like if you go Alolan Golem versus or Graveler versus Noctowl. So I think there's a lot of compelling reasons on why even when using Vigoroth, it doesn't, and someone else doesn't use it, doesn't necessarily mean that you're gonna win the match. So I think that those are both compelling reasons and in discussions, and I'm sure the arguments and debates won't end there. And I'm sure there's a lot of electricity flowing from this heated debate. So why don't we move on to the next area and head out west to Best in West to have us talk about the Electric Cup. Before we go into, I want to give you your praise and dues. Best in West is, in my opinion, one of the earliest OG PvP content creators. I've been watching him for a super long time, and he presented a lot of really early great strategies that I think a lot of people use inherently now, and that we've spread and used a lot. So he's definitely done a lot of really great content, and one of the first people to show me an entire tournament video, which I thought was really interesting. So definitely a pioneer in this early stages of our content creation. So Best in West, they're saying Best in West hype. Why don't you tell us, walk us through the Electric's role in this meta and which ones you favor, and then this is a variation of the marry, date, and kill. At the end, I want you to talk about which one you would run, which one you transfer on your team, and then which one you would give your opponent.
Okay. First of all, thanks for having me, and thanks for those extremely kind words. Once I picked up PvP, I knew I wanted to share my experiences. I thought PvP was game changing, so I'm just glad to be here. Thanks for having me. But getting into the electric Pokemon, I think there's definitely a few Pokemon that I think are the most usable. So just going off of PvPoke, you have Alolan Golem at the top at number 3, and then you have Alolan Graveler, which is pretty much a poor man's version of Alolan Golem. So you can do that.
That's a
Those two are pretty
controversial
much
statement.
Yes, it is controversial. When I say poor man's, I mean like a substitute. So technically you could run both of them. They pretty much serve the same role. Mm-hmm. Then you have Magnezone, Magneton, Raichu, then Lantern. And that's kind of interesting because I personally think Lantern is the best electric type in this cup, just because it almost beats out all the other electric types on this list. I think I was watching Jake's video today, and I think he says the only Pokemon that beats Lantern in the electric meta is Raichu, and that's just because it charges its charge moves so much faster and it's dealing neutral damage back to Lantern. So if you were to ask me which Pokemon I would take, it would definitely be Lantern. Now, if you look on PvPoke's list, you have Chinchou at the bottom at 112. That's not relevant, so we're going to ignore that. Now, if I were to give my opponent an electric type,
I'd say of the 4 that are on the screen.
Okay, of the 4 that are on the screen.
So you're running Lantern.
Lantern.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which one would you give of the 4? And if you pick Magnezone, they can pick Magneton or Magnezone.
Okay. Then I would probably give my opponent. Magneton.
Ooh, the chat is gonna blow up with that.
I know. It's good. They're good.
Okay. And which of these 4 would you transfer, and you can never see that spawn again.
Oh,
Like, I don't
okay.
know why,
Then it would
right?
probably
Like,
be it'd be a Alolan Golem or the Alolan Golem family. Like
you know, you get that
I'm
distance egg from Gemma, it will never hatch a Alolan Geodude again.
nope. I'm fine with that. Just because I feel like so in this cup alone, I don't like Alolan Golem is kind of one of those risky Pokemon that you put in, right? It hard counters. That's its job. It hard counters the flyers. It hard counters the bugs. Well, most bugs, I should say. But it also gets hard countered. Like, so Lantern hits Alolan Golem, Alolan Graveler family hard with those water guns, right? And it resists any kind of electric move it tries to throw at it. And Lantern is also super tanky. Alolan Golem also takes super effective damage from those counters. So you have Breloom, Vigoroth, and Heracross all dealing super effective damage back to it. And it takes super effective damage from the grass Pokemon. So it's just getting hard countered by so many different Pokemon that, like, especially in this meta, I just don't think it's kind of a risky Pokemon, right? Like, you have to get it in the right situation for it to be the most effective. Otherwise, it's just a throwaway Pokemon. And that can come in handy sometimes, like with a sacrificial swap kind of situation. But for me, not dealing with that, I like to know I like to run the straight and narrow kind of way. So I like to go with the sure thing, not necessarily something that's, like it's kind of a risk.
For sure. I think, well, Lantern's like one of those Pokemon, like similar to Azumarill, where, you know, it's so tanky. It has so much bulk that it's very difficult whenever it's available. And it serves that particular role that it does like a really excellent job in it. Anyone else want to chime in and on their thoughts on other electrics, other defenders? No one? Okay. Are you running Charge Beam or Water Gun? That's one of the
Is
questions.
that a question for me?
Yeah, on Lantern. That's
I'm running Water Gun, and that's, like I just mentioned, it will beat all the other electric types with Water Gun because it's dealing neutral damage to all the other electric types. Plus, the grass types. Grass types are going to be resisting both Charge Beam and Water Gun anyways, so at least this way I can get some chip damage on those grass types if I get locked into that situation. So definitely Water Gun, in my opinion. I think that's the way to go.
All right, perfect. We have some people that are blowing up the chat around Magneton and Alolan Raichu. So I just we'll see if they come join later. I'll have them come chat and then you guys can have some debates. But I think you presented a lot of really compelling reasons that Water Gun damage is gonna do a ton of damage, and like no shields down, Hydro Pump will do a ton of damage even when resisted.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I was just battling Twistel in their stream at Go Stadium, and my Lantern was up against a Tangrowth, right? And Tangrowth resists all of Lantern's moves, but it had no shields. I was able to take down Tangrowth because of that shields down Hydro Pump, and that Water Gun chip damage. So with Charge Beam, it may have been still really close, but I think that's a very compelling, like, if you were able to catch that, I think that was very indicative of how strong Lantern is even in negative matchups.
Yeah, no, absolutely. All right. Okay. Well, if these guys come join, we can circle back to it, but you know, now that we've talked about electrics, we should naturally talk about electric's main prey, predator, but still very much use in the meta. We're going to talk about the flyers. So, Jay Devin, we'll circle back to you. Once you walk us through the different flyers, the options, which ones you should be considering.
Yeah, so with flyers, my boy Ninjask. Oh, I really wanted Ninjask to be a thing. Really disappointing. He kind of stinks, to be honest. I mean, hopefully, someone has some clutch, super duper awesome victory with Ninjask, but for now, it's probably a no on Ninjask. Now, in terms of the flyers, obviously Noctowl. You have to give Noctowl the respect. Sky Attack is just completely busted. I mean, that's why even a Legacy Pidgeot, for the most part, Noctowl is going to be preferred, right? Sky Attack is where it's at. Now, if you look at the rankings also on PvPoke, if you go to Great League, just Jungle Cup, do overall, type in flying, it'll show you all the flying types for the meta, right? Now, as we go down the list, there's Vespiquen. I originally liked Vespiquen, but, again, I think King mentioned it earlier. You're only really going to be using Vespiquen as a bug attacker. I mean, it does get Power Gem, which is interesting, but it's not really going to be a flying attacker. Legacy Pidgeot is a flying attacker with wing attack. That's the legacy move. Aerial Ace is a bad move, but it is going to be a preferred move. Now, they recommend Aerial Ace and Brave Bird. I kind of right now feel like maybe Brave Bird and then Hurricane, or even just Aerial Ace then Hurricane. I don't know. Still kind of up in the air.
Hurricane's expensive, but
yeah, it is. And Masquerain has been getting a lot of love and attention. A lot of people are advocating for Masquerain. I haven't even tried it. I have one that's ready to go pretty soon. I want to give it, some love, see how it does. Mainly, obviously, the Golem family is what I'm scared of, the Graveler and Golem. Scyther also, I think it was Best. I think it was you, Best. Best and West used a Scyther against me in some recent battles, and I was pretty impressed with how Scyther performed. Obviously, the bug flying type, it's also very scared of the rocks. They can get deleted by rock attackers, but with Air Slash as well as Aerial Ace and then even X Scissor, it's performed pretty well. Now, Yanma, I think chat, you guys were talking about this a second ago, but also in Matty F. Baby's recent video, one of his recent videos, he also featured Yanma as a flying type because it can get wing attack. The main thing is its recommended moves are going to be Silver Wind and Ancient Power. But that I don't think for this cup, for the most part, with hard counters, that's really going to be reliable. And then as you go down, I've seen some people use Swellow. I haven't seen anybody use Ledian, but Star Raptor potentially could be interesting. Mm-hmm. It's rated very low. It's not super meta, but wing attack, it can also get Brave Bird, which is a bad move, but it does have the charge flying type coverage, but it can also get close combat. So it has that fighting type charge move coverage. It takes it probably a good minute to get to close combat, so it might not be, as dependable and as quick as other fighting type attackers can be, but it has some good coverage for the most part. And, further down beyond that, in terms of flying type attackers, I personally don't like anything going below that. I mean, Jumpluff, Pidgeotto, Beautifly, Zapdos, I really doubt we're going to see any of those for the most part. So
yeah, we're not going to use we're not going to use the mascot on your hat, the Zapdos. Unfortunately, it's not going to.
Unfortunately,
probably not going to see any play. Maybe in one tournament you can run it. Dedication to Lord Zapdos. So here's a question for you, Jay. So Noctowl is probably going to be the preferred flyer, but within Noctowl, what should be the second charge move, or do you even need a second charge move?
That's a really good question. I mean, almost every time I've used Noctowl, I've just used Sky Attack. It's more efficient. It gets stab. It's going to put out the damage. People have used Nightshade as well as neutral coverage. The thing about Nightshade is obviously normal type is a thing in this meta. There's a lot of normal type presence mixed with the normal flyers, as well as obviously Vigoroth. You got to respect the Donkey Kong. Nightshade would do you absolutely no favors in most situations. Right now, I have Psychic as the additional charge move. And, I mean, it doesn't get stabbed, but it doesn't get stabbed with Nightshade either. And Psychic's not even the best move, but it's going to hit harder than Nightshade would against, a Magneton or a Graveler or Golem or Magnezone, for example, probably not the Magna because they're steel, right? They're going to very much resist. That's one thing to consider, actually.
Yeah,
This is
so,
some good discovery. So
I'm sure Squawk Dirty is gonna, and Twistel, the Ghost Stadium guys are blowing up right now because they're strong components of Nightshade for Magneton and Magnezone, mostly because they love Magneton and Magnezone and they think everyone's gonna run it. So I personally run Psychic as well, mostly to hit Alolan, Golem, and Graveler, and it does like a pretty decent chunk. And I've run into some scenarios like really late game where I'm like mirrored against a Noctowl and like a Psychic, even though it only does like I think 4 more damage against the Noctowl, it actually would have won me the match, or would have won my opponents the match because there's no way I was going to get to a second Sky attack. So that's like another at least somewhat compelling reason to run it.
Yeah.
So
the mirror definitely is something to consider. I'd be really shocked if you're not going to end up coming against a mirror in a tournament down the line.
Yeah. So like really extremely late game, and you've done your calculations and precisions, and you know that you can't get to a second Sky attack. Something to consider. So, but here's the debate. We're gonna have John, who's John Framakis from Toronto, Ontario. Guy who I've done a lot of raids with and played this game for quite a while with. Posts a lot of really great videos. Hero Vange, or Battle Hero as you guys know him, would say that John has the best thumbnail game in PvP. So, but he's also had gone on some amazing runs in some really tough tournaments. So we're gonna have the debate between John and Jay on who wants to take only running Noctowl as a flyer, or there's 2 other options. One is running 2 flyers, or running an alternative flyer, or running 2 flyers. So who wants to take only running Noctowl or the other options?
I can take the running only 1 flyer, running Noctowl.
All right, Jay, do you feel comfortable debating running 2 flyers? Should another flyer make a... Okay, so John, why don't we turn to you? Tell us why you should only run Noctowl and ignore these other flyers.
I think you don't really need another flyer. I find Noctowl is the best, and with him being the best, you don't really need an alternative. I'd rather have other coverages. Therefore, like something that can cover the bug, something that can cover the electric, something that can cover the Noctowl, and obviously the Vigoroth you need on your team 100%. I just don't see the reason to run another flyer if you already have the best flyer in your team.
Okay, makes sense. Okay, simple, concise, and straight to the point, just like how Noctowl stares down its competition. No nonsense, right? Just beating down on its opponent with those beady eyes. So Jay, you look confident. Tell us why you should run another flyer in addition to Noctowl.
So flying type is huge in this meta, not only with its coverage, but with some powerful moves like Sky Attack, right? Or like Air Slash on Scyther. Now, using 2 flying types in a team of 6 or a team of 3, it's a little bit risky. It is. I mean, you can't deny that. But having, for example, a Scyther as well as a Noctowl, right, on the same team, that Scyther is going to provide more coverage against, and I guess in terms of resistance to fighting. Because Noctowl is going to be flying normal. It's going to take neutral against fighting type moves, even though depending on shields, it can win. Scyther can definitely come at clutch. If you have double fighting, and for example, if they don't have a great counter, I really doubt anybody would not. But if they don't, then that could very well be, a legitimate strategy to use for double flying.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think having 2 flyers on your team makes your opponent guess. So, for example, if you have Noctowl and Scyther, for example, Scyther also provides you or Vespa Queen provides you like decent coverage against the Vigoroth matchup because of those double resistance to counter. So now your opponent has to think about, like, are they going to run Scyther? Are they going to run Noctowl? When should I bring my Vigoroth? Is it safe for me to switch in? And certainly provides them a lot of great like some ideas and thoughts so these other flyers, you're not going to run Noctowl and Pidgeot Pidgeot unless you really love Pidgeot for some reason. You have like a mantle or shrine to Pidgeot, you're probably not gonna run it. So thank you for the guys for some really great discussions on why you should only run Noctowl or you should run potentially 2 flyers. So we do have a visitor, and Best and West, I hope you're ready, because we also have someone else from the West, all the way from Seattle. He's coming for that Best in West title, and he's gonna come in the honor of Go Stadium, one of the most influential people in Go Stadium, and one of the most influential people in the really hardcore PvP scene. And I know a lot of people hype around Gallade and around Valarash, but Twastel is the one that told me about Gallade long before Valarash actually put in the video. So, Twastel, you ready? We haven't done a mic check.
Can you see me?
Yeah, we can see you. Tell us.
Can you hear me?
Tell us why Magneton should be a consideration for electric.
Can I make a point on the flyers before we?
Sure. Yeah, go for it.
So I'm actually considering running double flyer, but both Scyther and Masquerain.
Ooh, tell us why.
So the thing I like about both Scyther and Masquerain is they have that coverage that lets you beat bug types and the grass types, but have that double resist on Vigor. So I see them as much more flexible than Noctowl. And so I running 2 and being able to run 2 of those as your Vigoroth counters in a team of 3 can potentially be pretty advantageous. A similar strategy to like running players in Tempest, one of my favorite lineups.
That's a compelling reason.
And in terms of electric, Magneton, I mean, I fell in love with it. It's super speedy, and those moves hit pretty hard. And that skill resistance to like grass and bug and flying here is pretty handy. I've been using it with mixed results. The biggest thing I don't like about it is it's weak to counter from Vigoroth, but it can still like hit back pretty hard with those magnet bombs. So that's definitely one I'm looking into using. And then another electric that didn't really get touched on is the Alolan Raichu, which has the unique ability of being, I think, the only mon in this meta that can either beat or check both the Vigoroth and Noctowl. Because typing lets it resist counter. So of the electric types, it's the one that has the best Vigoroth matchup. And so I've really been liking that in scrims so far.
Perfect. Well, thank you very much, Twastel, for your guest appearance. If you could top up now so I can quickly tap between people. But we really appreciate it. Thank you. And thank you for the really great insights. And thank you for all the work that you do with Go Stadium. All right. Perfect. So some guest appearances and some really, really great insight. And I think the fact that Magneton has so many different coverages that are going to potentially be relevant, like the grass, the bug, the flying, definitely makes it like double flying in this case definitely makes it pretty, and then psychic as well, does make it pretty interesting. But let's move on to the next category, and we're gonna have they call me Jake as he's named on Twitter, so we're gonna call him Jake. Why don't you tell us about the bug Pokemon and their relevance in play in this meta?
All right, so here at the bottom right, we have the bugs. which obviously the ones like Heracross will be 2 times weak to the Flyers, so they obviously won't have a lot of a chance versus the Flyers. We have the Beedrill here, which actually it does very well against the grass because it's 2 times resisting grass moves as well as the counters from Vigoroth. So Beedrill is definitely a strong and it's a strong and it's basically a very good pick if you want to do 2-in-1. And what I mean by that is if you want to counter the grass and if you want to either chip away at Vigoroth's HP or if you want to just have at it with the proper shielding. And then along with Beedrill, we have the Fortress, which is part bug and steel. And Fortress does very well against the other bugs like Beedrill, because of the fact that it has Rock Tomb. That rock coverage will annihilate anything that's part bug or flying. And even its fast move, it will do a lot of damage over time, even though it takes a long time to charge up its moves. And then along with that, it will dominate all of the grass types since it is resisting those grass moves. And along with Fortress, we have Heracross, which, as I said earlier, it's two times weak to the Flyers, but it will be able to dominate Vigoroth in pretty much all shielding scenarios, as well as it has great coverage versus the other the Alolan, being Golem and Graveler, because those counters from Heracross will be stabbed and they will be doing super effective damage. So you have, for one, you have the what do you call Vigoroth? Like the powerhouse of the meta, you have that covered, and you also have part of the Alolan covered. And along with that, it can wall the grass types very well as well. One thing I do want to note, though, is that Heracross will dominate the pure grasses when they don't have 2 shields. So it will dominate like Meganium in all shield scenarios because it only has access to Frenzy Plant and Earthquake, which are both dealing very reduced damage to Heracross. While Heracross obviously has that charge move, Mega Horn, that will be doing super effective damage. Except against things like Venusaur, it struggles quite a lot more. Heracross wins, though, if Venusaur and Heracross are at the in a scenario where they both don't have shields. And against Sceptile, it's a toss-up because if you're running Aerial Ace on Sceptile, that could be an issue for Heracross.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, overall, these bug types, I believe that they do very well in the role, as they are 2 times resisting all grass and counters coming from Vigoroth, and they can also do pretty well against the electrics. And last but not least, I want to go over the confusion users, like Venomoth. They will be able to dominate the Heracross and the Beedrill because, as you guys know, confusion is a very hard-hitting move, and it's going to be dealing super effective damage to both Heracross and Beedrill. And even though they aren't on the graphic, I definitely believe that the other bugs like Scyther, Pinsir, the Queen Bug, Vespiquen, and I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but it's the one that Best and West was talking about earlier. It's
Mascarin?
Mascarin.
Yeah, it's Mascarin. Sorry, yeah, Mascarin. I definitely think Mascarin, Vespiquen, and Scyther have a strong role in this meta as well. They can do pretty much all the same things that Heracross and Beedrill can do, as well as have positive matchups against Vigoroth and the Grasses. So I wouldn't sleep on them. You want to have a hard counter for them, like either Alolan Golem or the flyers like Noctowl.
Perfect. Yeah, I think the bug Pokemon are really interesting in this cup. There's a lot of really interesting dual types. Obviously the fighting bug, in addition to being super effective against the Alolan Golem and Graveler, with its fighting typing, makes the rock moves neutral, which means that it's not as vulnerable. And then we have like steel bug with Fortress and Scizor, and then poison bug and flying bug, and so there's a lot of really interesting uses. And I think when we talk about some of the potential off meta and wildcard picks, there's definitely going to be a lot of them with the bug Pokemon, and they serve like a very highly different profile from Fortress, Beedrill, and Venomoth. They're all used pretty differently. So I think most people would say that Heracross is the best bug Pokemon, or the bug Pokemon most likely used in winning teams. And what I want is a debate between Gemma. If you guys don't know Gemma, he's representing We the North. See, he's somehow representing We the North as in the background. South Carolina with his hat, and I'm not sure what that shirt was representing. So Gemma definitely front running, right? Getting on top there, right? Making sure he has pretty wide coverage like these bug Pokemon have. And if you guys haven't already checked out Gemma's channel, not only do you get some amazing battles, but you also see some like incredible rhyming at the beginning of his video, and very entertaining. But you're also gonna learn a lot, and I think a lot of people would say that Gemma is one of the most like upfront and honest individuals when it comes to his battling. He'll tell you when he doesn't know something, let you know when he's like working on something and getting better. And I think a lot of people appreciate his genuine his nature. So definitely a lot of Gemma hype in this. So I'll let you guys debate. I'll let Jim actually pick second best bug Pokemon, and then I'll let Jake pick his, and then I'll let you guys debate on why that's the second best bug Pokemon. Jim, do you have one in mind?
Yeah, I could take a second best one. So you're saying, yeah, Heracross best, and then, so like you said, I'll admit first, when I don't know things, obviously I love being on a panel like this because I get to learn as we go over all of these topics. And I think it's also important, even though we're debating a lot of these topics, things can change in synergy between teams. So even if I say Fortress is the second best bug type, you can definitely make a case for, Scizor, Vespiquen, Venomoth because of all their unique typings, right? So if you're making me pick one now, I think the safe pick for me personally, because I already have one made and I'm still missing some of these, would be Fortress.
And why Fortress?
Well, it's ranked number 1 on PvPoke.
Okay,
so
all right. PvPoke hype.
I definitely trust my sources. I'm definitely I get accused a lot for being somewhat boring or predictable. I go with a lot of the meta picks. I don't create a lot of these very unique strategies where you don't see, wing attack on a Charizard and being okay with not having blast burn for the Rainbow Cup like some of these really skilled players are. So yeah, I trust my websites and I go with kind of the meta, and then I kind of listen and keep my ear out for some off meta picks. So I'd argue Fortress just because it is kind of tanky, and again with it being ranked number 1, it has a lot of good matchups.
For sure. I think Fortress is probably the safest pick. Yeah. It also comes both where it has very few Pokemon that absolutely dominate it, but it also has like not adding any absolutely dominating matches. And I think there's a lot of compelling reason, and we saw this in some of the data around the wins and losses, that there's some compelling reasons on if you understand how to use the Pokemon, then you're going to use it better and use it more effectively. So I think Fortress, really great choice, probably the safest choice and safest Pokemon that you can have on your team out of all the bug types. But
fire, right? With it,
there's no fire. There's no fire, right? So it's well, unless someone comes with a Porygon or a Lopunny or any of these crazy picks. Hopefully, you don't go up against Caleb and get fire punched by his Lopunny. So hopefully that doesn't happen. But now let's turn over to Jake. Are you gonna take us on a journey on some crazy wild bug Pokemon that you think they should be run as your second pick?
Well, you see, I run Fortress, so but anyways, if I wasn't to pick Heracross, you know, I want to say Heracross.
Let's say assume you pick Heracross and you can't pick Fortress. What would you take instead?
Yeah, instead out of those two, that's a hard choice. You know, I see some hype in chat about Scyther, and I'm liking Scyther and Venomoth, but man,
too many good Pokemon out there, right?
Well,
yeah,
the two, right? You only have your fire, right? There's no fire for the weakness, and confusion if you're lucky to get your hands on a Poison Fang Venom, right? It's pretty unique.
I see.
It's really hard.
Squawk,
In walls,
Poco talking about Venomoth. Wow, it's definitely one of my favorites.
Yeah, you know what? Oh, man.
Jake, one day you're going to be a father and you're going to have a terrible choice when they ask you who your favorite child is. Right?
Oh my God, yeah. All right, you know what? I'm going to go with the Moth.
The Moth. All right. Tell us why Venomoth.
You know, I'm looking at his stats on pvpoke.com right now, and it's a hard it's a hard wall to the grass users, especially, as well as Beedrill. And I see here it has key matchups against Vigoroth, which, as you guys know, is one of the most powerful Pokemon in this cup, if not the most powerful. And it doesn't have a lot of very hard top counters other than the Alolan family. And of course the Flyers, but that confusion I think is what appeals to me here. It's because it hits very, very hard, and a lot of this Pokemon in this cup aren't incredibly tanky. I bet you even against Graveler Alolan form or Golem Alolan form, I bet you Confusion will still hit quite hard, as well as any of its charge moves. And you also have the potential there to get a boost.
For sure. Roll that dice and get the boost, and it can completely change up the matchups. And as well, it beats Heracross, right? It beats Heracross very well. Unless Heracross is carrying Earthquake, which is a more unconventional charge move, you don't have to shield against Mega Horn or close combat. You're not going to be worried about getting one shot in. You can farm up that Heracross and do a ton of damage to the next Pokemon. So I think, and as well with Confusion being, actually I learned this against my matchup against Jimma last night, being a 2-turn move. If you do Confusion, then they immediately do a charge move, then you can immediately do Confusion again. So you save a lot of turns and are able to deal a ton of damage. So I think Venomoth is a really excellent choice as a second bug Pokemon to pair with Heracross, and gives you a lot of really gives you very similar coverage to Fortress, but also allows you to beat Heracross and Vigoroth. So, Gemma, I think you're gonna have a tough time against Jake when he comes with his Venomoth.
Yeah.
So,
Well, good point, right? Like if you can take out Venom or potentially take out Vigoroth, right? Like my Fortress will lose the one-on-one matchup to Vigoroth, so it does hurt.
so Gemma is very much like a Fortress, where a Fortress keeps spinning, just wants to keep going, keep doing those bug bites. So Gemma is like blowing up my chat, saying, "I want next." He wants to keep going. So why don't we turn it over to Gemma to cover the grass Pokemon?
Nice. Okay. So, and one of the debates is like, do you use grass? Like, you can get away without using grass. And
Let's start off with like talking about grass and its play in the meta and the types of grass.
Well, I mean, to me, there's not. Again, you can use everything, but it's not as important in the meta. Like, you don't have as many grass mods ranked very high. So, does it have a place in the meta? I guess. Like you're looking at Venusaur or Crawdilly, and then after that, I definitely like Breloom. Right, I don't have a Heracross right now, so the Breloom's helping me out with that counter.
So you like these like grass Pokemon that aren't necessarily used as grass, right? Like Breloom or Cradily or.
Yeah, so I haven't used crit. I fought it, right? So with my use of it, it's also limited, right? So my only experience in the jungle, I never used my Sceptile. I've only tried the Breloom and the Venusaur, right? So Venusaur kind of has its place just because it's a good mon overall. And then, to keep Vigoroth in check, the counter on Breloom is pretty important to me, not having that Heracross.
Okay, all right. So, we've had some bold statements from Gemma. Best in West is getting all riled up here, saying like, maybe grass does have a play in the meta. So when we have some discussion on, so Gemma, you presented your points on, and maybe you can add a few more after Best in West talks about like why grass should be considered.
Yeah, so at first I wasn't running any grass as well, but looking at the layout of the meta, right? Pretty much you're either going to be countering Vigoroth or you're going to be like weak to Vigoroth, right? So grass it is pretty flexible in that sense. So like you said, you have Breloom, but a couple of Pokemon that I think are really important or like you kind of have to be worried about when you see it in your opponent's team is Sceptile. Like if you don't take it into account, it has a pretty wide range of moves and it charges very fast. So if you're running Fury Cutter, right, it will deal super effective damage and neutral damage to a lot of the Pokemon on here other than the flyers and the bugs, I guess. And it also has Aerial Ace and it has Leaf Blade. So with those moves together, like they cover a lot of what's on this sheet. So I think grass is kind of something that you need to at least consider and need to prepare for. Even if you don't run it, like it's definitely something that can surprise you and it covers so much, right? Even here, it has two arrows pointing out of it, even though it's weak to two different categories in bug and flying. So that's just my argument.
Oh, so you're advocating Sceptile as the preferred grass user?
No, I'm not necessarily saying that. I'm just saying that it's very flexible.
Okay.
Right? Like if you get caught up in a bad matchup, you're not completely defenseless, which is something I always look at when I'm trying to pick my Pokemon because what do they say? Prepare for the worst, hope for the best. And yeah, I think like by having those coverage moves, it really helps you like force a shield on an opponent, even though they have an advantage.
Yeah, I certainly I used Sceptile last night in my stream, and I actually swept a team with Sceptiles. It was down to my last Pokemon, and I took out their three. So, Gemma, do you have any counter arguments around what Best and West has said?
Yeah, I think what you're looking for, in the same way that shinies do more damage, Best and West is completely wrong. You don't need grass in your life. Like, get it out of there. You don't need it. You can win with a well-balanced team with no grass. Of course, you can be prepared for grass, but Best and West is 100% wrong. He doesn't always say the Pokemon name correctly, and you don't need grass in this meta at all. So just get rid of it. Go with the rest. Yeah. Unless you don't have Heracross. Once I get a Heracross, I don't need Breloom in my life, right? I need them now, but
yeah.
By the way, it's Breloom, not Breloom. I like to point that out. It's Breloom.
All right. Okay. Well, those are compelling reasons and arguments around the grass Pokemon. So why don't we move on to, and also for the chat, we need 300 likes. How many likes are we right now? Does anyone know?
99.
99? Oh, come on, guys. We need
we're at 99
300. Now. Okay, we're gonna get there. Don't worry. Confident. So what we're gonna be talking about next is the wild card picks. Some of them we've talked about in other ones. So I'm gonna have an open discussion around wild card picks, and then I have some specific questions once we dive a little bit more into it. Does anyone have some favorites out of the wild cards, or something that hasn't even appeared on this?
I guess something that I could talk about is the Munchlax. I have been running Munchlax. I've tried it because I powered it up before I found out about Vigoroth, and just in general terms, I think Munchlax is, again, you know how I mentioned like Graveler's a poor man's Golem. In this case, Munchlax is a poor man's Vigoroth. It has pretty much the same moveset in Body Slam and Bulldoze. It also has Gunk Shot, I guess. So, but for me, at least, I was running Body Slam and Bulldoze. And I mentioned this earlier, is that if you're not prepared for Munchlax can really spam those Body Slams and possibly even draw a few shields if your opponent isn't prepared for it or doesn't know how much damage it does, because Lick charges relatively quickly and Munchlax has a lot of bulk, so it can take a few hits. So getting those Body Slams off, spamming it, and also having Vigoroth, it's just two spammy Body Slammers, and if you're not prepared for it, I think it can do some damage against your opponent for sure.
For sure. I think the main drawback with Munchlax, unfortunately for this particular meta, is that Lick doesn't do very much damage and does even less damage against a Vigoroth, but definitely charges those moves quickly, and definitely another Pokemon that spams Body Slam and has a reasonable tankiness to take some hits against from other neutral attacks. Any other wild card picks? Actually, does someone want to take Dustox? I'm probably saying it wrong, but why it should be considered?
I could take Dustox.
Okay.
I think Dustox, if you don't have a legacy Venomoth with Poison Fang, Dustox is a pretty solid replacement, knowing that it has Sludge Bomb, so it has a little bit of coverage there, similar to the Poison Fang Venomoth. The drawback for Dustox, though, is you need 100%, or you don't need 100% IV one, but as close to 100% IVs as you can get to, you'll need, because it maxes out at level 40 under 1500. Yeah, so it was very strong in Twilight, and I think it serves a very similar role as Venomoth, being able to take out a lot of the poison types, the poison grass types as well. And I assume it'll probably do quite a bit of damage to Vigoroth and can probably win some shield scenarios as well there.
Yeah. What movesets do you recommend on it?
I believe it would be Confusion with Silver Wind and Sludge Bomb, I think is the poison charge move.
Okay, yeah. Sludge Bomb being probably a more energy efficient move than Poison Fang, and definitely going to do a ton of damage to the grass Pokemon and in neutral scenarios. How about...
Yeah, definitely. Better move than Poison Fang for sure.
Yeah. So it's a bulkier Venomoth for sure. So definitely has some play, and I've definitely lost some matches in Twilight against Dustox. So it's definitely something that shouldn't be shouldn't sleep on, but it is very expensive. So,
Yep.
other wildcard picks that anyone else has considered or thought about or thought were interesting.
I thought it was interesting that they brought up the other Raichu. Like, I just looked where it was ranked. I know you don't always go by the ranking, but 84th. They made the guys in the chat made a very good point about it being able to like take out Vigoroth, and it looks like it's got key matchups against a lot of the higher ranked meta or what you'd consider meta. But is it viable on a team of 6? I don't know.
It's flexible, like so.
Yeah.
It can have certain shield scenarios matchups against Vigoroth because its Psychic Titan does resist the counters, and then as well takes out Noctowl, the main flyer that you do expect. But its Psychic Titan also means that it's weak to bug, so it's more weak against like it would take more damage against Vespa Queen than Kanto Raichu would, but it certainly, and as well, it has Spark as opposed to Legacy Thundershock on Raichu, which means that it's going to charge a little bit slower, and then no Brick Break for whenever you use Brick Break as your charge move for consideration. But I think it's a very interesting pick. Any other? Go ahead.
Mescajane was a sleeper pick, but it sounded like a lot of the Ghost Stadium guys are pretty high on it. I was very lucky on your stream last night and got the boost. And
that was unfortunate.
Yeah, very lucky.
Last night I was battling Gemma on stream, and I was like, okay, I don't need to shield this because my Vigoroth, even though it's low health, can come in and take out this Masquerain because I have like such a huge HP advantage against it. And then unfortunately, when we went back into Masquerain because he switched to after he did was it Silverwind?
Yeah, Silverwind.
Silverwind. It was boosted, and I had absolutely zero chance. Being double resisted with counter, and it having a 50% defense boost is going to leave me in an unfortunate
it's scary
scenario.
with all the weaknesses it has.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So here's a question, and maybe some people in the chat can make some recommendations. Besides Munchlax, since we've already talked about it, can someone make a case for me on running another normal?
No.
Jim was too mainstream. Jim was a front runner, so until
Noctowl.
like a single type.
Yeah, like another pure normal.
Pure normal.
I mean, the only thing really I would even
I think it's probably not one of the greatest choices, but I've been doing a lot of research on Porygon with Fire Hidden Power.
Ooh, okay. Okay. Tell me about our friend Porygon with Fire Hidden Power.
It's not the greatest just because it does lose to Venusaur. But from what I've seen in simulations, that it actually beats Fortress and Scizor.
Because it's Fire Hidden Power would be double super effective.
Exactly.
All right. And then obviously it loses to Vigoroth and a majority of the other meta. All right.
Exactly.
Jay, I know you were saying something. I see a lot of really interesting picks here, so I'm going to bring up a couple of them afterwards and you guys can talk about it. Go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, the main one, Porygon, that is interesting. With Legacy, it's probably going to be really hard to find that. It's got to be basically legendary, I would imagine. If someone has one, then for you, I think that's probably super rare. But Lanoon, obviously, we saw a lot of Lanoon in championships. As far as Lanoon and Porygon facing up against the meta as a whole, it looks like they're both kind of even matched. The main thing about Lanoon, though, Shadow Claw is not going to be good against other normals. But having Thunder and then also as well as Grass Knot, right? Because it won't be taking super effective damage from the Rock Boys or even from Lantern, for example. But in those matchups, Shadow Claw is going to be neutral. Then getting to Grass Knot fairly quickly and providing that super effective damage in those matchups, I think could be very, very clutch.
Yeah.
That's just my basic thoughts on it.
So it might help you cover against Best and West's Lantern pick with that Grass Knot.
Yeah.
And as well, Shadow Claw will be super effective against a low-end Raichu.
Yes.
So it's certainly a pick. And then, obviously, Thunder against the Flyers is definitely going to do a ton of damage to it. So anyone
Could
else?
be clutch specialist. It has great coverage.
Other, wild card normal picks?
We got a really good Community Day move for slacking.
Ooh,
So,
okay. Slacking. Okay, with that body slam, right?
Yeah, no, obviously I'm joking. It's actually like at the bottom of the list.
Oh, is it
Yawn
even-
is OP, man. Yawn is extremely
someone
OP.
was advocating earlier Yawn on Snorlax, Legacy Snorlax. Probably not. Okay. How about okay, Caleb. I'm not sure if you've done any research on Kangaskhan. People are all about that power up punch hype.
I have not. I'm looking at it right now though, and it loses to Vigoroth in every single shield situations, and the only situation it beats Vigoroth in is if it has 2 shields to 0.
Okay, so not good.
No, not good. And even when it has 2 shields to 0, it survives with 9 HP.
No
so,
good. So
yeah, which is good news for me because I don't have a King's count under 1500.
Okay.
But yeah, I would not run that this cup.
I'm sure you have one dedicated to one of your cats. How about Delcatty?
Oh,
Bringing one of your cats to battle, right?
I actually I named my Entei and Raikou after my cats, but
they're legendary. They're not normal type Pokemon.
Yeah.
I get it.
Right. Delcatty's interesting because it has Feint Attack as a fast move. It has Zen Headbutt as well, but that's a terrible fast move. And then it has Wild Charge, Disarming Voice, and Play Rough. Not the best coverage for this cup, to be honest. Maybe Wild Charge in some situations against Flyers. But again, it also, it gets destroyed by Vigoroth as well. And my guess is probably by a lot of other things in the meta.
Okay, so this is not a pure normal type, but something that could potentially beat Vigoroth. I don't know if it does. Girafarig.
Oh, interesting.
With its psychic normal typing, has confusion.
So I just simmed it real quick. So it ties Vigoroth in 0 shields, loses him 1 shield pretty hard, but it wins in 2 shields.
Okay.
So not too bad. I mean, it gives it some additional coverage against the grass poisons as well, and it has Thunderbolt as a secondary charge move along with Psychic and Mirror Coat. I don't think you'll want to run Mirror Coat, so probably Psychic and Thunderbolt are the way to go.
So potential some coverage against Flyers. Confusion is gonna help you against the poison bug Pokemon, the fighting bug Pokemon.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're gonna hit Psychic against Heracross, I guess, and some of the poisons, but certainly that confusion damage is gonna do a lot. So
yeah.
All right.
Does anyone have Delcatty ready for Jungle Cup? Because I actually do. When I was burning all my Stardust when PvP became a thing, I thought it could be viable.
All right. Looks like Best in West is advocating for Wigglytuff. Tell us about Wigglytuff.
I'm not necessarily advocating. I see in the chat that I see a couple Wigglytuffs. I actually practiced with Wigglytuff against, I think it was Jake. I actually practiced with it a few times. It's just not good. It gets Feint Attack, I think, as a charge move. I mean, as a fast move and Pound, and both those aren't the greatest. It'll still lose to Vigoroth, even though it's taking neutral damage from counter. Counter alone is just a very strong move. Its charge moves are Ice Beam. I think it gets like Dazzling Gleam and what's the other fairy move? And Play Rough. So I was running Feint Attack, Play Rough, and Ice Beam, and it's just it charges those charge moves super slowly, and Ice Beam is only really good against the grass and flying, and even then you're not getting stabbed. So I just don't think Wigglytuff is that good in this cup. it's only going to get one charge move off pretty much, because its fast moves don't charge energy fast enough. I really wanted it to work, but unfortunately, from my testing at least, it didn't perform as well as I wanted it to.
Okay. Any other wildcard considerations that people want to talk about? I think okay. If not, there's some interesting picks. Obviously, jungle is not as wide open as rainbow, but I think we'll certainly see some other consideration and picks. So why don't we move on to teams of 6? I'll give you guys about a minute to think. Right now, if you had a tournament, we had a throwdown right now, what team of 6 would you be punching into self.gg? I'll give everyone a moment there. Someone says, man, if you land if I ever see in a tournament someone landing an unshielded hyper beam, that would make my day. I would happily shoutcast your whole tournament if you land one hyper beam unshielded against in the final round of like you're going for the championship win. So okay, Matt's gonna do it. Land a hyper beam unshielded final round for the championship.
You should
I don't even care if I don't.
I said you should give them your friend code if they do that with a hyper beam if it's a chancy too.
Okay, so I will friend whoever can as the winning move in a 5+ round tournament land a hyper beam as the winning move. So let's see someone throw it down, because I was talking to my friend Joash Feng Shui, and he was running Electrode. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Electrode with Spark, Discharge, and Hyper Beam. And he's like, Hyper Beam for coverage. I'm like, did you ever land Hyper Beam? He's like, nope. But if I did, it would one-shot almost anything. So okay. Who wants to go first? Give us your team of 6.
I could go. You know me, I'm trying to go anti-meta here, so I don't have a Vigoroth in my team as of now.
No Vigoroth. All right.
Vigoroth,
all right.
Yeah, that challenge. So I'd run Lantern, Water Gun, obviously on that, and then Alolan, Golem, Noctowl, Heracross, Scizor, and Yama.
Oh wow! So double. Yeah. You're running 2 electrics.
Yeah.
Any
2 flyers.
And 2. Okay. Let's walk through each of those. Why 2 electrics?
Sure. So I've had some decent success with Lantern in some neutral matchups with Vigoroth. Obviously, Vigoroth beats it in most situations, but if you come in with a little bit more energy or health, you can take it out. And I've one-shotted a Vigoroth with Hydro Pump too, when I was able to farm something else before, like a Golem. And that Water Gun damage does quite a bit. And if you surround Lantern with counters to the grass types that usually beat it, such as Noctowl or Yama or Scizor, even Heracross, it can, and Alolan Golem actually, it can do quite a bit of damage. And then Alolan Golem, pretty solid rock type right there. Noctowl, probably one of the best flyers in this cup. And Heracross, it beats Vigoroth, so even if you don't bring Vigoroth yourself, your opponent may be more cautious of bringing Vigoroth when they see a Heracross on your team. They might still bring it, of course, and bring Heracross counters, but something to think about. And then that's why it's good to have both Lantern and Alolan Golem to counter any flyers there. Scizor, I haven't tested one out yet, just because I don't have one that hits under 1500, but it only taking super effective damage from fire is pretty useful, because there aren't really any fire users here. And then, so pretty solid neutral damage there. And Yama, I don't have one that could use, because you kind of need one that's near 100% max out. But having coverage against other flying types with ancient power can definitely be useful. And then obviously countering grass types as well.
Yeah, and rolling that luck could be helpful, right?
Yep, definitely.
Invincible Yanma would be pretty interesting. So I think that's a very interesting team composition, and I look forward to seeing the video where you run it with no vigor off. But I think it's certainly viable, but it will certainly be a challenge. But I know you're an extremely skilled trainer, so I'm sure it will be possible.
Sure. And the only thing I'm missing right now is a hyper beam user, so I got to figure out to work that in somehow.
Chansey, right? Chansey have hyper beam, right? So,
yeah, I'm running a Chansey in a draft right now, and it's pretty bad. It's just bad as I thought it was going to be. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty tough. Don't forget, guys, to smash that like button so we can see some battles afterwards. All right. Okay. Who wants to go next?
Me. I'll go.
Jay, go for it.
Team of 6. I don't know how I'd feel about leaving Vigoroth out. I'm going to leave Vigoroth in.
Okay, bold choice there. Gonna run the anti-Caleb lineup. We're going to run a Vigoroth.
Definitely Vigoroth. I really like Venomoth. I'd throw it in there. Noctowl, 100%.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of a tough call between Graveler or Golem. For a little more bulk, my gut says I would go with Graveler.
Yep.
Then I also think, for the most part, Lantern does very, very well in tests against me and also tests versus others that I've tried it out. So I would include Lantern. I feel comfortable with it and its performance. Seems reliable. And then I might run Breloom instead of actually including Heracross.
Ooh, okay.
Of 6.
There's a couple of interesting discussion points, but when we start with the latest one, why Breloom over Heracross?
So the main thing with Heracross is it functions as a very good counter against Vigoroth, right? There's a lot of things that can still win matchups. You know, like they said, you had one shot previously of Vigoroth with a Hydro Pump. There's situations where you can still win against Vigoroth. You just have to be smart with your shields and how you play. But I would go for Breloom because, one, if they want to switch immediately into a hard counter, or if I have to switch out of it, that could potentially, give switch advantage to one person or the other. Someone used it against me. I think it was either yesterday or the day before. Breloom can absolutely destroy Vigoroth. If it has no energy built up, the counter from Breloom just hits so hard because of his attack stat. But also with Seed Bomb, even though, it's tough to say if he's going to survive long enough or not to even get to a Seed Bomb, but if he does, that gives coverage if they have a Lantern or if they have a Golem. That's just my thoughts on it and why I'd potentially include it.
For sure. So I think there's definitely a couple of compelling points that you provide there. The cheaper charge moves, pretty much all of its charge moves are cheaper than what Heracross has, whether you're running Seed Bomb, which is going to be the lowest energy cost, Sludge Bomb, or Dynamic Punch. Dynamic Punch allows you to have like a very strong fighting charge move without necessarily getting as high as with Heracross. Oftentimes when you're farming Heracross against, a Alolan Golem, for example, even after you've knocked out the Alolan Golem or Graveler, you still don't have enough energy to get to close combat, versus when you're doing it with Breloom, you have enough for Dynamic Punch or for Seed Bomb that might come through. So I think there's certainly a case there, and then as well with its grass typing allows it to be resist the electric type, which is I think a compelling reason and certainly a strong case for Breloom. Tell us why. You told us why for Alolan Graveler over Golem. It is slightly tankier, which helps it in some scenarios to survive. The question here is what charge moves. I saw some really interesting debates there. Which of the 3 charge moves are you using? Or do you?
I mean, just my thoughts in a little bit of testing so far. He's going to function as an anti-bug and also an anti-flyer, right? But really to shut down the bugs, especially the bug/flying types. And I don't know if I would even run Thunderbolt. I would probably use Rock Throw, Rock Blast, and then Stone Edge.
Yeah, I think Stone Edge, if I recall, they're both 55, Thunderbolt and Stone Edge, but someone can correct me. I'm sure people will correct me if I'm wrong. Braylon actually has 4 charge moves with Toistell's pointing out with Grass Knot being added. But with Stone Age actually does more damage, and there's not really super compelling reason to have Thunderbolt because all the flyers are going to be weak to rock anyway. So I do think Rock Blast and Stone Edge are the way to go. And if you land a Stone Edge on almost anything in this meta, it's going to do a ton of damage, whether it's super effective or not. Okay, so some interesting picks there, and some unconventional, slightly conventional team of 6 with like some slight unconventional variation. So thank you for that. Who else wants to tell us their team of 6?
I can go next.
John, take it away.
Alrighty, so I'm running Vigoroth, of course.
Okay.
Counter Body Slam Bulldoze. And I'm running Alolan Graveler with Rock Throw, Rock Blast, and Thunderbolt.
Okay.
Noctowl with Wing Attack, Sky Attack, and Nightshade.
Ooh, okay.
Heracross with Counter Close Combat and Megahorn. A Venusaur with Vine Whip, Frenzy Plant, Sludge Bomb. And I am running, let me see, pull it up. Vespiquen with Bug Bite, X Scissor, and Power Gem.
Okay. I think there's a couple talking points there. Thank you for sharing the team of 6. Why Vespiquen?
Because right now I haven't used it too much, but I just added it into my team today. Actually, the fact that it beats Vigoroth is huge. Plus, also having the bug coverage would be amazing, especially going up against the grass.
And then as well with Power Gem, you're definitely going to surprise a lot of flyers and a lot of bug Pokemon and help you win the mirror match against Vespiquen. And then why Venusaur? Why grass Pokemon? You know, you obviously respect Gemma's opinion, but clearly Gemma says leave it on the bench, but you're saying you're taking Venusaur off the bench, bringing it to your team, and you're gonna frenzy plant all over Gemma. So why Venusaur?
I've always loved Venusaur. Venusaur is amazing. Anytime you can use a grass type Pokemon, it's always going to be, majority of the time it's going to be Venusaur. Frenzy Plant is just a tank move, just because it's community move, so it's always going to be, it hits like a truck, right? And then of course you have the Sludge Bomb coverage. I pulled off a Sludge Bomb today on one of my buddies on his Ninjask, and it was almost like a one shot. And then of course, because Frenzy Plant, right? And then Vine Whip gets to those charge moves so quick, and also the fact that it can beat Vigoroth as well makes him a very good counter and good when it comes to coverage.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's a very compelling reason, and definitely gives people some second thoughts because you have quite a few Vigoroth counters, especially to lead with Vigoroth would be challenging against your team. So tell us why Nightshade over Psychic on Noctowl.
I find Nightshade pretty much has hits neutral damage against everything that's in the meta, except for the normal types. Mm-hmm. And most of the time that you're going to be using Psychic, from what I see, if you're going to be using Psychic, then you can also be using Sky Attack.
Yep.
So Nightshade will give you that more coverage with the charge moves.
For sure. And I think, a lot of times I use Psychic on Alolan Golem or Graveler when I get switch locked in there. But there's also some compelling reason not to do so much damage. So that way when Vigoroth or Heracross or Breloom comes in, you can farm a little bit more. I actually haven't ran the numbers on that quite yet because obviously you don't want to get hit by a bunch of charge moves either. So I think Nightshade, I think a lot of Toistell and a bunch of the Ghost Stadium guys definitely advocated against Magneton, where it's going to do those Magneton, Magnezone, Magnemite are all so squishy that Nightshade's going to do a ton of damage. So, okay, great lineup, great team of 6. Thank you for that. Who wants to go next?
I'll go next.
Okay, I'll go after him.
Okay.
So for my jungle team, the line that I've kind of been liking is, so first off, I'm using Vigoroth. I'm not leaving out the meta defining Pokemon.
Okay, we're going anti-Caleb here.
Yeah, I got to. Like I said, I like to go the straight and narrow, so I'm pretty predictable in that sense. I might have like one Pokemon that's kind of off meta, but most of the time I'm going to like run 5 out of the 6 Pokemon are going to be pretty straight meta. So Vigoroth's on there. I have Heracross as kind of just to kind of scare my opponents out of Vigoroth. I have Beedrill. I really like Beedrill. It's a Pokemon, and right now I'm running Poison Jab, X-Scissor, and Aerial Ace. I did hear that Sludge Bomb might be a better option than Aerial Ace, but I really like the super effective coverage against other bug types. So, for example, against like a Fortress, right? At least I'll be hitting neutral damage rather than resisted damage. So I'm running Poison Jab, Aerial Ace, X-Scissor on my Beedrill. I was advocating for Lantern, and I'm still advocating for Lantern, so I'm going to use Lantern for sure. And Noctowl, I am going to use Psychic instead of Nightshade. Psychic is a much better DPE move, and the reason why you use Psychic, obviously one of the main counters for Noctowl are the electrics, right? So there was an argument for Magneton, Magnezone, or Magnemite, whatever, right? That Psychic isn't going to be hitting those for super effective damage, but like mentioned, they're pretty squishy, so even resisted damage is going to hit them for a good amount. And in that case, you can use Sky Attack, right? Which is, you're going to get stabbed from that anyways. And they're pretty squishy. So I'm using Psychic. The main reason why I'm using Psychic is because I've run into Lantern a lot as a Noctowl, and that will hit Lantern a lot better. So that's what I would do. And for my last slot, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Okay. And for my last slot, sorry, I'm kind of talking a lot, but my last slot right now is kind of my flex pick. I'm kind of looking into Victory Bell.
Ooh, okay. All right.
So I'm looking into it. I haven't really tested it. I'm out of Stardust, but I like the idea of being able to knock out Lantern very fast and knock out a Alolan Golem Graveler really fast with Razor Leafs. And even if I am stuck in against like a Noctowl or even a bug type that's going to be hitting me for super effective damage, hopefully I can either surprise a Noctowl with a Sludge Bomb or a Sludge Bomb, or I can hit another Pokemon with Acid Spray. So it's kind of like I can also possibly use it as a sacrificial swap and still get an Acid Spray. So if they bring in Vigoroth or something, which they probably won't, because I think Victory Bell does very well against Vigoroth. So I'm looking into it. I haven't tested it out enough yet, but yeah, that'd be my flex pick, my anti-meta, I guess, because we haven't even talked about it this stream.
The anti-Jimma pick, where he's telling you, put the grass on the bench. You're going to Flower Garden and picking up that Victory Bell. So you talked briefly about what moves you would run. Can you go over it slightly again? Because I think there's a few options there.
Yeah, so I'd be running Razor Leaf, Sludge Bomb, and Acid Spray.
Okay.
And yeah, so if I have a good matchup and they're not switching out, I can use Sludge Bomb to I can just use Acid Spray and deal even more damage against their Pokemon, or I can catch like a flying type off guard with a Sludge Bomb, which will do a good amount of damage as well. So I'm thinking that would be the move set I would use. Again, I'm out of Stardust, so I don't even have a second move yet. But that's something that I'm looking into and trying to see if I can make that work somehow.
All right, perfect. Anyone want to advocate why you might run Leaf Blade? Actually, funny story. When I was down in Argentina, someone, my Spanish, my Espanol is quite terrible. So they were trying to talk to me about their victory belt that they use for regionals. I thought they told me that they were running Razor Leaf, Acid Spray, and Leaf Tornado, and like doing no damage with their charge move. I thought, I'm like, wow, that's a bold decision. Like trying to just make your opponent's Pokemon as weak as possible. But obviously, it was something else. But anyone want to advocate Leaf Blade as a potential move?
No.
No. Okay. I think Leaf Blade.
No one.
I think
Crickets.
Leaf Blade. I think Leaf Blade is definitely a strong consideration for a few reasons. One, it's very low cost, the cheapest cost available. And with Razor Leaf being such a low damage, Razor Leaf being low energy generation, being able to at least get to a move where it does a lot of damage, and then as well, I think it allows you to check Vigoroth a little bit better. And Leaf Blade is outside of the Community Day moves the most efficient charge move from a DPE perspective, and being Victory Bell such high attack and Leaf Blade being so efficient, it's certainly going to do a lot of damage against it. It also, Squawk says it helps against Magneton, but not really worth it. But so I think there's definitely some considerations and thoughts, but Sludge Bomb, if you can land it, will hit super hard against anything that doesn't resist, and certainly against those flyers will do a lot of damage.
I think the reason why I am leaving off Leaf Blade, at least in my current thought process right now, is because Razor Leaf is already giving the same kind of coverage. Like if I get Leaf Blade, then I won't be able to hit those flyers for anything that does damage. So that's just my thought process right now.
Yeah, for sure. If you're stuck, makes total sense. All right, okay. Who still hasn't gone?
I don't think I have yet.
Okay.
Well, yeah, I'm not sure who else besides me hasn't.
I haven't.
Okay, yeah. So, let's see here. What I have. All right, so I'm running Fortress with Bug Bite, Rock Tomb, and Earthquake. Noctowl with Wing Attack, Sky Attack, and Psychic. Vigoroth with Counter, Body Slam, and Bulldoze. Heracross with Counter and Megahorn. I haven't purchased Close Combat quite yet. Lantern with Water Gun, T-Bolt, and Hydro Pump. And then Sceptile with Fury Cutter, Leaf Blade, and Aerial Ace.
Ooh, okay. A couple interesting things there. So I think you're the first one to say Fortress. If I'm maybe someone else did, but why Fortress?
Well, I like how it walls all the grass types, and I also like how it has Rock Tomb to provide some coverage against the other bugs and the other flyers. And I also like how Earthquake can potentially KO the electric types, pretty much one shot.
Okay, all right. And why Sceptile?
So Sceptile, I'm on the edge about currently, but it's done okay for me. Like, you have Leaf Blade, which again is a very it's for energy, it costs very little. And Fury Cutter charges it up pretty quick. So obviously it can beat all of the electrics or the Alolan Golem, Gravel, or whatever. And then you have Aerial Ace, which has some extra coverage against the other grass types. So yeah, I have that, but if there is any Pokemon I would replace Sceptile with, it would probably be one of the other bugs like Venomoth.
Yeah, makes sense, and certainly that Aerial Ace can. I think I went up against a Heracross, and I don't think they expected that I was going to do Aerial Ace against their Heracross, and it one-shotted
Exactly.
their Heracross. So I think it makes total sense, and that's a solid solid team. If you were to have a second charge move on your Heracross, in addition to Megahorn, what would it be?
It would be Close Combat. Yeah, Close Combat's. Let me look here. It's
Okay.
Close Combat and Earth. Yeah, I'd have Close Combat for sure for some extra coverage against the flying and normal types.
Okay, so you have some questions here about why not Heavy Slam.
Well, see, Heavy Slam, I would have a lot of trouble against the electrics more, I'd say, with Heavy Slam, especially Lantern, because I like to run Fortress without shields or keep one shield for like an endgame scenario. Either that or I like to lead with it. So I like having Earthquake instead of Heavy Slam for that coverage against the electric types. And as well as, like in case I want to hit like a Vigoroth without a shield with a heavy slam. I just don't find much need for Heavy Slam over Earthquake.
All right, perfect. All right. So last but not least, Gemma's raring to go, right? Gemma told me he's gonna say his entire team in rhymes. So
maybe. Well, the thing is, I was actually trying to get out of the tournament. I'm like, man, I'm not ready. I'm not prepared. I haven't watched all of your videos, but you had 7 for the tournament. So I would make it 8, and we have to have an official tournament.
Okay.
And I feel bad. I got to make sure the tournament's ranked. So, and maybe you guys can help me out after. I don't want to add too much to the segment, right? Because we've already gone through everyone's teams. But I'm missing some key components, right? So, like, I don't have a Graveler. I don't have a Heracross. But we got to enter this tournament, and Call Me Jake made a very good case for the Venomoth. So I subbed out the Fortress and put in the Venomoth, right? Legacy with Poison Fang.
Yeah.
And I should have told Jake though that Heavy Slam is almost needed for the Fortress. Says PV Pope. I don't do any research, or just PV Pope told me. But we dropped the Fortress. We got Venomoth, and then we've got, of course, Tarzan or the King of the Jungle, Vigoroth. Noctowl, right? My Pidgeot was just not cutting it. Had to do Noctowl. And then we have 2 electrics. I think it was best, right? Made some good cases for some electricity. So I went with Lantern also with Water Gun. And then I also went Raichu with Legacy, Thundershock, Brick Break, Wild Charge. And then I don't have a Heracross, guys, so I had to keep one of those Grass Mons, even though I was hating. Breloom just for the counter coverage. And I'm running, I didn't really look into the moves when I was practicing with Breloom, but now I think I'm going to go with Dynamic Punch, Sludge Bomb.
And
I had Grass
when you looked into it, does that mean you just looked on PV Poke and saw that I recommended Dynamic Punch and Sludge Bomb?
Not in the last 5 minutes, but when we were doing the stream, when I was looking at Grass Mons, because I knew that I was supposed to be a grass hater, I did change it this stream. So not in the last 15, but I changed it this stream. Thanks for the information, guys.
All right,
so,
perfect. Tell us why 2 electrics. So Caleb also running 2 electric, but he's running 2 arguably very different electrics.
Right.
But why Lantern and Raichu? And the most important question is, what kind of hat is this Raichu wearing?
So he is rocking Santa, right? Gifts for all. I did have 2 non-Santa Raichus. I just traded one yesterday without the hat with Thundershock. So I know those are rare. Most people have got the Santa Chew. So definitely Santa Claus hat. I went with Lantern for the safe pick, or it feels safe, like as far as Best made some good points about it being one of the best or the best electric in his mind. And then Raichu, I still have that issue, like just like Rainbow Cup. It feels so squishy, and like you almost have to waste a shield on it. You don't have to, but you might die if you don't. So I just went with it just for the quickness of the charge move and hoping that it will do good in certain matchups. So I ran 2 electric. Yeah.
Okay. Anyone want to talk Gemma out of it, or do they agree with Gemma for
Yeah, I
running
need some
Raichu?
more guys, 'cause, like, I'm being accused of ducking the other YouTubers, right? Because I don't feel that my team's up to par, and I don't want to get destroyed on the internet. I'm okay with taking an L, but getting destroyed is bad. So I've got no grappler, and what should I do with this team?
Well, getting destroyed on the internet's no problem. I got beat by Jake like 5-1 not too long ago.
But he's a prodigy, though. Like,
It's okay, bro. It was early in the month. I got lucky.
5 years from now, when we
Jake's
see-
like, it's early in the month, but I'm gonna beat you later in the month too. So, all right, yeah, no, I think there's Raichu's interesting. Obviously, if you get paired up with make the argument for Brick Break over Thunder Punch.
Can I?
Yeah, or Thunder Punch over Brick Break.
Well, I'm running it because just for some coverage, I guess. And I think PV Poke told me.
Yeah. Napoleon Dynamite is loving you're his biggest advocate for sure. Well, we all love PV Poke for sure. So thank you, PV Poke. Hey, Best, you had some thoughts on Thunder Punch?
Yeah, so I haven't looked at PV Poke on Raichu. I was actually considering using Raichu just to get more electric coverage because Noctowl is definitely a Pokemon that is strong against my current team because I'm running grass and 2 bugs, and one of the bugs is double weak to flying. So I was thinking about running double electric to kind of counter, like to kind of scare Noctowl. And I was going to run Thunder Punch because of that role of scaring Noctowl, right? They would have to shield almost everything I throw at it versus Brick Break. It would just deal neutral damage and it doesn't get that stab bonus. So, I mean, you can make an argument for both because Brick Break, I think, will have better coverage against Vigoroth, which is, again, the meta-defining Pokemon. But, yeah, I guess it depends on which role you're trying to use that Raichu for. So Raichu is definitely, I think it's a viable Pokemon in this cup. So, yeah. So having double electric, I could see that potentially working for both Caleb and Gemma, I think. I don't think that's like out of the question for sure.
For sure. So D Masterlands, one of the finalists. I know John Formakis and Jake, right? Or no, it was Styx. Actually did a showcast on his tournament played really well. He's advocating Brick Break for Shield Bait and for the Alolan Golem and Graveler, be able to hit them with super effective. So I think that's definitely a compelling reason, especially if you get matched up with another electric type, because like those rock throws are gonna do a ton of damage to those electric mouse, even if it has a Santa hat on.
If you're doing that, then if you're running double electric, you'd probably be running Lantern, right? So wouldn't you bring Lantern in rather than Raichu if you see a Golem Graveler on their team?
Yeah, well, I think there's like compelling reasons to run either one, and depending on the team composition and how they run it. Certainly, Lantern has some a lot of play when you see a Alolan Golem for sure. All right, okay. So, if you guys are willing and ready, teams of 3 combinations based off your team of 6.
I'm down.
You down? Okay, John.
Yep.
Give us the magic.
But I don't know if we should do that though. We're gonna be doing battles.
You can throw them off, John. I know you always get the lead advantage. I watched your video with Twastel. Not only does John get lead advantage, but he's laughing at his opponent whenever he gets lead advantage. So if you're ever in a tournament, he just sees he has a lead advantage. He just starts laughing. Doesn't start tap. He lets his opponent get a few taps in. He's like, I'm gonna win anyway. So
Okay.
okay, give us your teams of 3.
I'm gonna say Venusaur, Graveler, Alolan Graveler, Noctowl.
Venusaur, Alolan Graveler, and Noctowl.
Yep.
Okay. No, so no Vigoroth or no counters in that lineup.
I decided to spice it up a little bit.
Spice it up, and you're relying mostly on Sceptile or part of Sceptile and Noctowl to take out a potential Vigoroth.
Yeah, Venusaur.
Oh, sorry, Venusaur to take out the Vigoroth. Okay, nice. I like that team. And if they switch in onto Venusaur with Noctowl, you have that Alolan Golem to come take it out and to farm up a bunch of energy. Okay, nice. Okay, I like that. I like that play. Anyone else? Teams of 3.
I'll go.
Okay.
Heracross, Lantern, and Alolan Golem.
Heracross, Lantern, Alolan Golem. So you have wow. Okay, are you gonna coin that the double electric strategy?
Yeah,
Right.
I like to double load up on a single typing a lot of times in a matchup of 3.
Perfect. So they lead with Vigoroth. You got coverage. If they come in with, Vespiquen or Noctowl, you have tons of coverage there. Okay, nice. I like that. And like they might think that they're home free if they have their flyer there, but and once they knock out one of your electrics, but you have another one in the back that's going to do a ton of damage. So I like that. I like that strategy. Okay, who else? What other teams? 3? Jay?
Me real quick. I would say Venomoth, Vigoroth, and Lantern.
Venomoth, Vigoroth, and Lantern. All right. So okay, no, I think that's like solid coverage there, right? Obviously, if they try to come with a flyer versus your Venomoth, that confusion damage is still going to do a ton, and you always have Lantern in the back to come take care of it. Okay, well, I think it's solid. Okay.
I think the most meta lineup that you could possibly pick is like Vigoroth, Lantern, and Noctowl. And I would run that if I don't know what to do, I'm taking too long. I would just run that lineup and it would do solid or be a close matchup no matter what.
Okay, perfect. Any particular lineups that you might be worried about?
If they lead with Noctowl, if they lead with Heracross, I'd be pretty worried. But most of the time,
what would you switch to if they led with Heracross?
If they led with Heracross, I'd probably switch into Noctowl.
Noctowl,
right?
And then they might come with Lantern or Alolan Golem.
Yeah, and then I'd be playing from behind. But leading with Heracross is kind of risky because a lot counters Heracross, I feel like.
Yeah, for sure. It makes total sense. All right. Anyone else?
I'm going with that exact team that he just said. Noctowl, Vigoroth, and Lantern.
Okay, and what are you leading with?
Oh,
are you mixing it up? Are you mixing it up every time?
Yeah, I would probably change it up every time.
Okay, all right. Keep it unpredictable as a swap your flow as a
exactly.
With a shout out to him. I'm sure he's watching or sleeping, one of the two, or at work. Something. All right. Anyone else? Teams of 3?
Yeah, I wasn't sure really what to do with this team of 6 that I kind of don't like, but I was watching this Jungle Cup meta discussion on King IV's channel, so I thought maybe a good 3 would be Vigoroth, Noctowl, Lantern.
Vigoroth, Noctowl, Lantern. Okay. All right. Come with the mainstream lineup. The straight and
I listen to the YouTubers that I'm subscribed to. Right? So best
Nice.
Tommy suggested it.
Nice. All right. Okay. So I actually didn't say my team of 6, so I'm gonna quickly say it, and then we have a special guest, as you can hear him in the background. So my team of 6 right now is Alolan Golem. with Rock Throw, Wild Charge, Rock Blast. I like Alolan Golem over Graveler just because Wild Charge is one Rock Throw sooner than Thunderbolt or Stone Edge, but you know Graveler's still viable too. Then counter Body Slam Bulldoze. I did a whole analysis on why I think Bulldoze is generally better, but you might situationally want to run Brick Break. And then I'm running Beedrill with Poison Jab, Sludge Bomb, X Scissor, Heracross with counter Mega Horn, Close Combat. I'm running Venusaur right now, but I'll probably swap it out for Venomoth, and then Noctowl with Psychic. And you know, I like to have for me when I come up with my teams of 3 when I come to tournaments, I usually have four of them. So for example, if I lead with Vigoroth, for example, I'll probably Vigoroth, Noctowl, Alolan Golem as example. I like to have another team that I know will directly counter a potential counter to that. So for example, if they come Heracross, I'll have a team that starts with Noctowl. And then as well, if I think that they're going to counter Noctowl with, Vigoroth, for example, or if I know they lead with Vigoroth a lot, then I'll lead with Beedrill and build my lineups around that and kind of assess their lineup, assess what their gameplay, what they might use, and then try to figure out which of these 4 lineups are going to be viable. But I do like Venomoth, and I'm actually interested in I'm going to do some research on whether or not you should be running Poison Fang or you should be running Psychic as a potential nuking move against your opponent. But for right now, I'm using Poison Fang because I do like that spam. But some off-meta charge moves might be in consideration as well. And as well, I already have a Venomoth powered up there. So we do have a special guest also from the Go Stadium Discord. He likes to fly all over the world, and that's part of his job. And he's come flying in and about to deliver us some really great information on. He's going to talk about why or why not Tropius and the Burmy family were banned from this cup. So I turn over to AJ.
Hello.
Take it away.
Yeah, so mainly I was listening to the conversation. Very good points on a lot of people. Tropius, I think, would have been a big problem, probably even more so than Vigoroth. Only Tropius matchups on PvPo. Even Shields, there's quite a few things to counter it. When you start looking at, Magnezone, Magneton, they do okay, especially if it's running Air Slash. The problem is once you get into the shield disadvantage scenarios, there's really very, very few things that can deal with an Air Slash Tropius. For example, on the 1-0 shield scenario, you're really only having 2 things that can beat a Tropius at equal energy, and that is Magnezone, barely, and Noctowl. We've already seen how dominant Vigoroth can be. A Tropius would be a massive problem to this meta, given that there's no fire types. And the other thing is, if it were to run an anti-meta strat with Razor Leaf, then I suppose it'd probably beat Magneton. Magnezone. I'd probably have to look into that. As far as Wormadam Trash, I think the biggest thing that's holding back Fortress is the fact that its charge moves, whereas Wormadam Trash has a wide amount of coverage in its charge moves, and it also has Confusion, which does a whole lot of damage. So if you have a maxed out dual charge move Wormadam, the Trash version, it can pack a hell of a punch, because I believe it's running Iron Head. I'd have to double check, because I was told that I was going to be defending the Tropius ban. But just looking at Wormadam Trash, having Psybeam, Bug Buzz, Iron Head as charge moves, and then Confusion, Bug Bite, literally all of that is viable.
Yeah.
So you have just a destroyer of all kinds of coverage. Yeah. I mean, if you look at that, it can hit for neutral against the electric types. It can hit for super effective against the grass. It can hit for neutral against all of the flyers, and it can hit for super effective against the fighting, except for Vigoroth. So that would be a huge problem with its defensive stats.
Yeah, and people say it's just a better fortress, right? So it certainly would have caused a lot of problems if they had Tropius, Wormadam, Trash, and along with Vigoroth and Noctowl. You'd like those would pretty much be Kingdom Cup all over again, where you would see very few Pokemon used in the vast majority of lineups that would be extremely dominating and make it difficult to have some off meta considerations or anti-meta considerations because they would have such wide coverage.
Yeah. Like, I come from a place of, like, almost never banning. Like, in Kingdom, banning Bastiodon, no, because you have that Lucario counter. You have just so many options. I think with banning Tropius, the only downside was that Vigoroth became so pretty much unchecked. I mean, you still have certain checks to maneuver around with Vigoroth at least. But this is like a big thing to maneuver around. I like Caleb's point. Probably was the best one against, banning Vigoroth, and that it introduces like a new style of gameplay, and that you really have to choose wisely how to use your shields and how to play against your own Vigoroth, or running your own if you plan to bring it in your 3. But ultimately, I mean, this meta has never favored one Pokemon as much as Vigoroth is being favored here.
All right, perfect. All right, okay. Thank you very much, AJ, for your insightful points and analysis, and we appreciate all the hard work that you do with Ghost Aim and for the PvP community. All right, take care.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, so now what we're going to turn to is I'm going to jump to a different scene, and we're going to have Call Me Jake take on all challengers within this chat that he's ultra friends with. So a little bit of caveats there, and we're going to have Caleb, myself, and I'm going to pick a individual that's not battling to come shoutcast from Jake's perspective. So I'm going to switch scenes right now. So it'll be drop me off the call temporarily for you guys, but I'll rejoin in a moment. So here I am. Okay. So
Yeah.
Jake, you want to just turn us down? Who wants to go first?
Hey, sorry, I actually have to bounce. Thanks for having me. Good luck with the battles.
Okay.
It was great. Really love the insight. Made me think a whole different way. Have to worry about Venomoth now. Thanks a lot, guys.
Right.
But good luck.
All right,
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for
I'll be
joining
on
us.
next time.
All
Very
right.
best.
All right. So who wants to go first? Jay Devin, you want to take on Jake? Take on the young prodigy? I'd like to just take 30 seconds now that we have the bigger screen up. Notice in the back, you want to tell us about this glowing, changing color thing in the back?
Yeah. So it's my Rainbow Pikachu, which I got from my recent local Rainbow Cup. Actually, is all the way back on the 8th, complete beginning of the month, and they gave out prizes. It was something, that our other PvP leaders in our local area did. They had Pokemon cards. It was at a gaming store, right, where you always will see people playing like Magic or Yu-Gi-Oh tournaments, things like that, different card games. But they hosted a Pokemon Go PvP tournament there, and they gave out legitimate prizes like this. And honestly, this is perfect because I wanted something cool for my backdrop, and it has a freaking rainbow mode. And it has different. Hold on. It has different just color modes too, right? So like for jungle, I'll just put it green.
Oh,
we
man.
get other themes.
Okay. Is it
there's
one of
different
those
colors.
Easter eggs in your videos that everyone should be checking out?
I guess so, yeah. If you really care about a light up Pikachu and a backdrop, that's
Man, well, you just told us that you run different colors based off of the different cups, so or potential insights on what Pokemon might run.
maybe. Jungle Cup's green.
All
Right now
right,
it's rainbow.
All right, Jay, you want to hop off and then send a battle invite to Jake?
Yeah, so we're actually not ultra friends.
Oh, you're not ultra friends. Okay.
No, yeah, we're
Okay.
2 days away.
Okay. So 2 days away. All right. Okay. John, they're calling you, right?
I'm
You
down.
ready?
I'm
You ready?
down.
You ready? Okay, hop off. Unfortunately, when John hops off, we're not gonna see him laugh when he gets a lead. So, he's already laughing, right? He knows he's gonna get lead advantage.
Stop it.
Okay. Jake, are you ready?
Yeah. You want me to hop off?
No. You can't hop off because we need to see your screen.
Oh, right.
Yeah, you can just turn down the volume for on the call.
Okay.
Just like manually on your computer or whatever, however you want to do it.
Oh, yeah. I gotcha.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Let's do this. Okay. In the chat, we have hashtag JFarm or hashtag Jake. Who's gonna take it? Oh, hopefully Jake's gonna pull up his gameplay. Hashtag Jim. All right. Hashtag Vigoroff. All right.
Vigoroff for the win.
Dude, we have some J Farms. Oh man. Okay, hopefully Jake's gonna share his gameplay.
Personally, it's too tough for me to pick. That's the tough one.
Okay, there you go. We're gonna see his
There
gameplay.
we go.
Maybe.
Oh, shinies too. Look at that shiny.
Oh, man,
50.
we're getting like that window inception on the fact that he's the stream in the background. I'll tell him minimize the stream.
What do you guys think about him running 2 shiny mons?
Oosh, well, the way to go. Okay, there you go.
I mean, he's
Should've
missing
brought
out
a third.
right there with
Perfect.
Vigoroth.
All right. Okay. So what do you think he should go with? You guys remember? So J Farm likes to run Venusaur. What was it? Heracross Noctowl?
We should almost got him to just put the screenshot in our jungle chat.
Yeah, if you want to tag him, ask him.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
he's locked. Oh, what did he go in with?
It was Vigoroth, Lantern, and Noctowl.
All right, perfect.
Vigoroth lead.
Figure off lead. All right, let's see if J Farm's going to commit to this Venusaur lead. Someone's saying 2 shiny mons. That's a lot of extra damage. Do you think?
Well, no shinies.
You
do
think
more damage,
next
right?
cup they're gonna ban shinies?
Might have to.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, I changed my mind. Call me Jake, I'm rooting for. Go Mystic. Team Mystic in the
Team
chat.
Mystic.
Oh,
All right,
let's go.
all right. Team Mystic. Oh, thank you, Raul, for the super chat. He says shinies do more damage. All right. Let's see.
Shiny's OP.
Come on, John. What are you doing?
Steve.
Is
I
John?
guess we don't
Is John
officially
frozen?
know.
Oh no, he's good. He's good. All right.
We don't know how many shinies J Farmakis is running, so it's really hard for us to make it.
Ooh, okay. He's coming in with this. Oh, he's committed to it.
Ooh.
Dude, let's see here. So this is a bad lead. In what shield scenarios does Vigoroth win? Any? So he's gonna try to get the switch. Oh, he couldn't get the switch in.
Vigoroth doesn't win in any of the shield
Oh
scenarios.
man, that's
so,
bad.
Really?
Yeah.
So here, gonna try to get off the body slam, and then I'm gonna predict that he's gonna switch.
Or use another shield.
Or is he gonna shield here?
He's just going to let it go. He let his Vigoroth
Which
go.
is a switch strategy, but it's also fine because you can farm up with Noctowl. But knowing that, yeah, you kind of need this. He's he's switching. Oh, I definitely would not have switch
Switching
locked.
to the
I would not have switch locked if I was J for Marcus. I think that was not a good strategy here, but these rock blasts are still going to do a decent amount of damage here.
He's gonna get J farm though with this energy here.
But he's gonna. It takes I think 8 rock throws, so he should be getting to another rock throw here. Oh no! Okay, never mind.
And his lantern is just loaded with energy.
So, but this Venusaur, he's not gonna be able to do much against this Venusaur if it comes back in.
Yeah, he's got to take out this lantern because if he has a flyer in the back.
Oh, he chose to go Thunderbolt. Is that just to bait the shield?
Yep.
Why even shield with?
Oh, he needs to take out this lantern. There's got to be a flyer in the back.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh man!
Dude.
Wow.
No shield with the thunder.
Oh god, that's not gonna KO it, but
Yeah. He's up a shield with his own knockdown.
yeah, this
Yeah,
no
it's
knockdown. GG's there.
Wow. Lost to Vigoroth early, but still came back even without switch
well,
advantage.
Well, I think J Farm gave up switch advantage by switching prematurely.
Yeah, I think
Like it's not like
switch
Venusaur
up
was
a
at
big
like half health,
opportunity there.
and that he was gonna farm up a ton of energy. It was gonna get off like 4 or 5 wing attacks before fainting down the Venusaur. So definitely getting switch locked.
I guess, what are your thoughts on that, though? Because Jake had a lantern, so if he didn't protect that Venusaur, I think Jake still would have won, right? Because the lantern could have taken out the Graveler and the Noctowl.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
That's my guess on what J Farm was thinking.
But then he should have shielded the Venusaur in the first place.
Yes, yeah,
Right?
I don't disagree with that. Yeah, because it had to take out both the Vigoroth and the lantern.
Yeah, for sure. And then just get he has Noctowl and it's tough. It's a tough strategy to run with that. For some
Yeah, I didn't realize Venusaur beats it in all shield scenarios. That wasn't one I thought it would.
The more you
Be
know.
strong against Vigoroth. Yeah.
All right, so 1-0 Team Mystic. Let's see the leads here.
with the same team, just a different lead.
Was he leading with
I
Noctowl?
think J Farm's going to lead with the Venusaur again.
I don't think so.
He's going to lead with the Noctowl. Okay.
That'd be pretty ballsy after that.
All right, let's see here. Oh, cut him on the lead a second. John's laughing right now. 100% John's laughing.
He's laughing. Yeah.
But the thing
It's a
is
good
here
switch.
is that, he went. Oh, I would not have went for the body slam here.
Yeah, probably not. I mean,
I think it's like a.
he switched.
Oh, and he
into-
shielded. What the?
Shield.
All right.
The things that happen in the early games, right?
Yeah.
Early practice.
I think. Yeah, it actually worked out better for Jake that he shielded then.
Oh wow, he's up 2-0 in shields now.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to shield this.
The debatable. Like he was like one counter away. He could have shielded
I
and
think
then
he'll
went
come up
for
with a lantern right now.
come in lantern. This is
Oh, no.
okay too because he's gonna get to it a little faster. I probably, to be honest, if I was me, I just okay. I probably would have.
there.
Oh, I definitely would have just did the sky attack right away. But no, it's actually good in the sense that he's like letting his Noctowl get lower
Yeah.
because like that Alolan Golem's not gonna be able to farm very much.
It's tricky though because if he brings out the Alolan Gravel
Oh,
right
he
now,
switches.
if he has Venusaur in the back,
Yeah, that was my thought too. If he has the Venusaur sitting in the back, that's why
He has to
probably why
shield
he's
here.
taking all shields too.
but
But he's gonna
he
this.
should have switched out if it was Venusaur.
It doesn't look like he has Venusaur though.
I wonder what it is.
Unless he does have. John might shock us and he does have Venusaur.
Oh no,
Nope. Oh no.
that's rough.
Noctowl.
It's like repeat of last game.
That's rough. John's like, my laughing's not working.
Yeah, that's tough to get the lead in both games, or at least this one for sure.
That was like a hard lead. What would you have changed in John's team composition? Well, he should have switched out earlier.
Yep.
Here's a couple things that John misplays on John's part. One is shielding the body slam. There's no need to shield the body slam if you're a lowland graveler. It's not going to do very much damage against him. All right, John.
Oh man.
John. Hey, John. Be honest. How many times did you laugh?
I laughed both times.
Oh, you're the lead
But then
twice.
he was laughing at me.
All right, Gemma, you ready?
I am, but I changed my team because.
Okay, you want to tell Jake your team?
Yeah, I'm gonna just post it in our Discord and tag him.
All right, I'll tell you mine.
Yeah. Just say it in the Discord. I've gone off.
Are you able to screenshot it and just put it in the same chat?
Yeah. Here, I'll slide you the invite.
Okay.
Sorry, I keep forgetting that my screen's sharing.
Yeah,
No
no worries.
worries.
I've gone off you and onto rotate between you guys.
I'm just muting myself or muting the call.
Oh no, get off the call.
Yeah, so just disconnect it. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Last time we did this, Zionic thought Gemma was listening into the call. We're like, is he gonna fall for the shield bait? And then Gemma doesn't shield.
This is tough. Team Mystic versus Team Mystic. All right, let's do it.
All right, let's go for it. Okay, Jake, minimize the stream again, or else we're gonna get Inception on the stream.
All right. Okay, I'll mute myself. There it is. Okay.
All right. Okay. I'm gonna say what Gemma's team is: Noctowl, Vigoroth, Venomoth, Lantern, and Breloom, and Venusaur. So Noctowl is gonna be strong against like 3 of them: Breloom, Venusaur, and Venomoth.
Double grass.
Didn't he say leave grass at home?
Interesting.
Gemma throwing all these head fakes.
What did Gemma say? He was good. He would lead in his 3. It was the Vigoroth, Noctowl, and Venusaur, I think.
Yeah.
I wonder if he's gonna do that.
Yeah, he basically said the same thing as everyone else.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he said Vigoroth, Lantern, and Noctowl. So knowing that team composition, what would you do if you're on Jake's side?
If we're
I'd probably just lead Noctowl.
I feel like I would lead Vigoroth and then follow it up with Fortress and Noctowl.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, the big thing to worry about on Gemma's team is really the Lantern.
Yeah.
So, if I was Gemma, I would probably bring the Lantern just because Sceptile is good, but it doesn't have a grass fast move like Venusaur. So,
But it gets to those leaf plates really quick. So
true. That is true.
Fortress, in case like he comes in with, does Fortress have favorable matchups against Breloom?
I think it should.
Really
Just
good
because.
question, actually. I have no idea.
He's running. No, Breloom wins in no shields and 1 shield. Okay, here they're starting off. Oh, this is an okay matchup. Let's see if he chooses to lose switch advantage. He doesn't have a counter here, right?
Yeah, I would probably wait till Vigoroth does the charge move first.
I'm not sure. Gemma's trying to piggyback here.
Oh, yeah, he can switch in time.
I wouldn't shield here. He's gonna do back-to-back body slams though, or I think.
Yeah. Yeah, this leaves Jake in a weird situation because his fortress is really low on health at this point.
It's gonna get KO'd here. And it's so tough here. Well, Jim was about to prove me wrong when I said that Vigoroth couldn't sweep an entire team. I would come in with Lantern here. At least this water gun damage is going to do quite a bit. Okay, well, he's going to come Noctowl. Okay. Which is fine, too. It wouldn't shield here. And then what I would do, I would count to 5. And then if I haven't fainted the Vigoroth, I would do the Sky Attack.
Oh, he's trying to farm this.
Yeah, I don't think it was worth it. I would have gone to 5, Sky Attack, and then left Gemma in a situation. Do you want that body slam, or do you want that health? Obviously, now he has a lot of energy. Okay, he's going to swap out.
Did he bring grass?
No.
Venomoth.
Venomoth's okay, too. He's going to hit this.
I'm pretty sure it tanks at least one Thunderbolt.
He's going to burn his last shield, which is fine here. I wouldn't shield here.
I would actually, just because
he's Noctowl versus Noctowl with energy, and you could potentially farm down this Venomoth later with Noctowl.
That's a good point.
And then get basically load up with 2 Sky Attacks. But oh man.
Oh yeah.
It's too aggressive on the farming there. Way too aggressive. But it's fine here.
Farm up.
Just farm up here. Oh man, but he's almost dead. He's almost dead. Oh god.
Yeah, he's got to hit this with.
No.
Do this double Sky Attacks even do it?
No, it won't.
I don't think it does.
He needs to get to this 3 here. One more.
That's why he's trying.
Can he? No. Cool. He needed to. It's tough. A tough call, but potentially with the water gun damage, if he would have just thunderbolted Venomoth right away as soon as possible, and then keep farming, have as much health as possible, and then force Gemma to either feint him down with Sky Attack, or risk getting hit by Thunderbolt, put him in that situation. And, Gemma might feint down with Sky Attack, and then double Sky Attack with Noctowl, I think might have been his play.
Did he just win with Vigoroth, Noctowl, and Venomoth?
Yep. Yeah, that's correct.
It's a tough lead though. And not bringing a Vigoroth counter, definitely left him in a tough. Made him lose switch advantage and put him behind in health.
That's interesting that that Gemma brought Venomoth too. Yeah, I probably wouldn't have brought that against his team, but it seemed to do okay.
Well, maybe Venomoth does well against Vigoroth, Heracross. And then probably does okay against Sceptile. I guess with the Aerial Ace makes it not tricky. So great.
But his Vigoroth carved him such a huge lead in the beginning too.
Yeah, it was tough to come back there.
I think it's the best thing you could bring, considering he didn't really bring,
he didn't bring either grass. He's faking us out with these grass picks, right? Let's see here. Obviously, favorable matchup for Vigoroth, but it's not a super dominating matchup here. Vigoroth wins for sure. See if he shields or not. Shield makes sense here. Okay, he's going to switch to Breloom.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Oh.
But here, it's Seed Bomb. There's no way it's...
yeah.
Oh, it's Dynamic Punch. Okay, the phone... Okay, well, thank goodness he shielded.
Well, that's one thing to note, too. Because Breloom can die so quickly against flying counters.
Yeah.
it might not
I guess
give
it
them
only
really an
takes
opportunity to farm.
Yeah, it only takes eight counters to it.
Now Jim is in a good situation because up by a shield, and then his Vigoroth's picking up a lot of energy.
You gotta definitely hit the sky attack right away. Okay, he's
Yeah.
CMP tied to it. Is Vigoroth probably gonna shield here? Oh no. Okay, never mind, Jimma. Okay. And then he has like, I would. How much energy does his Vigoroth have?
I bring the Vigoroth. Oh, well, no, he'll
man.
survive this. Though.
He'll survive it. I probably would have went. It's hard to say.
I think I probably would have stuck with this choice because Fortress would probably do. Oh, okay, he's switching into Fortress now.
I would have done the reverse. I would have went in with Fortress, tanked the body slam, switched to
Correct.
Vigoroth.
I agree with that.
Right, because body slam's going to do significantly less damage there.
But Fortress does decent in these matchups with no shield, so
Yeah. Ooh.
yeah, this is
That's GG there.
yeah, he did well.
Nice play. Nice pickup on the Fortress. Easily took it. And nice shield on the against the Breloom, the dynamic punch. So well played there. It's another 1-1.
Yeah, I just don't know if Breloop's good for this cup. I mean, right there, it seemed like it was just good for burning one shield, but it didn't really pick up any damage.
Yeah. Well, I think it's tough, like, because Heracross is also double weak as well.
Yeah.
So
It's true.
it's great when but the thing is that unlike Heracross, it doesn't resist counter from Vigoroth, so it's gonna take a lot of damage there, and you're forced to shield if you're a Breloom, because the counters plus body slam would KO a Breloom, versus counters plus body slam won't KO a Heracross, so you can come out with that like switch advantage or that lead advantage and come out and hit another charge move, and then you basically take out their Vigoroth plus burn another shield potentially, or do a lot of damage. Versus Breloom doesn't necessarily have that same capability.
Right.
Right. Oh man. Oh. Okay, John. Do you think Gemma's laughing?
I definitely think Jim is laughing.
Gemma is looking to get. Is looking to piggyback, I guess. It makes it tough when he plays like this, right? Because like if most conventional players would just go for the body slam as soon as possible, I would wait for the body slam, then switch out.
Yep.
To Vigoroth and mirror.
Ooh, this is tricky because if he has a counter for this Noctowl, Jake's in a bad situation.
He's
locked it.
Lantern.
Yeah.
Oh man, and he doesn't necessarily have anything that can necessarily farm this Lantern afterwards.
Yeah, I wonder how much the Psychic's gonna do though.
I wonder if he's gonna land it.
I wouldn't. Yeah, well, it's not bad. It just forces Jimma to stop his farming earlier.
Let's see if Jimma shields here.
I would shield the sky attack from it.
Yeah.
Yep, he shielded. The thing is here, he's farming a lot. He's committed to farming all the way. Oh, goodness.
Yeah.
Jimma's farming a little too much here. Obviously, early wake up. And then, then doesn't? All right. Interesting here. So I would actually come in with Vigoroth, because I think I can fade it down before it gets off. It probably needs like four water guns.
And he has 2 shields too, so it doesn't even matter.
Yeah.
Like
so
even
close.
if it's a Hydro Pump.
So close there. You could have also done 3 counters and then switch to Fortress and try to sack it.
Yeah, I think Jimma, if he really wanted to farm that Noctowl more, he could have undercharged a Thunderbolt.
Yeah.
And then,
Switch, come on.
Jake.
Oh!
Oh,
Beautiful switch.
Wow, that was really
Beautiful
great.
switch.
It's almost perfectly
Nice.
timed.
And then farm it up a little bit and then take it out. Take it out. Take it out.
Really
Wow.
good play by Jake.
Yep. He's got
Okay,
big in the back. Oh, yeah. He's got this.
Okay. Jake, man. Okay, John, you ready to go back in? You ready to take down this undefeated monster? Jake, man.
I'll try.
Jesus.
I don't know, Jake's really good.
Gee, dude. God damn, that was
Jesus.
insane.
Like, that switch saved
Yeah,
you
that's
then.
what you do.
That was
Fortune,
beautiful.
yeah.
Jimma,
Yo,
now you know why you shouldn't bring the grass.
whoa! You guys saw no water gun. No. You guys saw that, right?
What?
What?
So what?
When I switched in Lantern to his Noctowl, I wasn't doing any water guns. So
were you lagging?
yeah, he got consistent quick moves in against me while I wasn't doing any water guns. You'll see it on the replay.
Oh, okay.
Dude, oh my god,
You'll
really?
get your rematch after John battles.
Yeah, no
Okay.
worries. I'm not salty about it. Game 2, I had a loaded sky attack that I didn't fire off. Like, GG's, I'm not taking anything away from him. But yeah, definitely no.
All right, you can
no
send it,
water
Jake.
gun.
I'm gonna be getting off
Okay,
the
John,
chat.
before you hop off, there's a question from Shoeless113. His current team is Vigoroth, Fortress, Alolan Golem, Noctowl, and Venusaur. What do you think as the last slot? Heracross or Poison Fang Venomoth? Personally, I would say Heracross.
Personally, I would say Heracross because he already has a Venusaur.
Yeah,
But-
yeah. Potentially.
Yeah, I'd say Heracross as well because he's already got Fortress and Noctowl to counter like the poison grass types.
Yeah, I agree.
So,
I agree. So
kinda
I
overloading.
think Heracross. Yeah, it's just tough. Like, because then if you don't bring, Heracross, then Vigoroth is like, it's not always going to be a winning lead, but it's going to be a lead that where it doesn't lose that badly against it. So it would certainly take that into consideration. All right, okay. You got John. You have
All right, I'm hopping off.
you have no John. Before you leave, Twastel says, "Put a Alolan Raichu in your team. Trust me." Are you gonna trust Twastel or are you gonna back out on him?
Let me see.
Should do it.
John's asking, how many laughing moments am I gonna get if I bring a Alolan Raichu to my team?
All right, you want me to do that? Fine, I'll do it.
Okay, just send Jake your updated team in the Discord chat.
Okay.
All right, Twastel, he's trusting you, right?
All right.
Okay, Jake, you want to turn down now, and then John's hopped off. Yeah, Gemma, we were a little surprised on that matchup with Lantern and Noctowl.
In Game 3, right?
Yeah, because it looked like you were like over farming, maybe.
Well, yeah. So there was a little bit of frustration. Like before, if you see the replay before he gets his first sky attack off, I'm doing 0 water guns. So I'm like, hey, can I? So I'm water gunning his Noctowl down, thinking how far can I get it down? And then yes, the Thunderbolt was way too late, and he got his charge move off, and then my Thunderbolt goes off with, minimal health. So bad play for sure.
Noctowl is super tanky. Like, it would take, oh my gosh, so many water guns. Like, each water gun only does 3 damage, and it has 167 health. So yeah, that would be like 55, 56 water guns. At which point in time, you've like generated like 180, 100 some crazy amount. So, Caleb brought up a good point that if you did want to farm, potentially doing like an underpowered Thunderbolt. Thunderbolt does 104 damage fully loaded, and it would leave it with 3 HP left.
Yeah.
So potentially doing like experimenting with like a one ring or two ring Thunderbolt might lead you to a more advantageous.
Yeah, I mean, like if I get those water guns naturally, then I just fire the Thunderbolt as soon as I get it. I think he had one shield. I forget the shield scenario. I might have had a shield left. I don't recall, but definitely just flustered in the moment. I think I was more disappointed in game 2 when I had the full sky attack. I don't think it would have gave me the win.
Okay,
but it would have made it closer.
John has a shiny Alolan Raichu.
Oh, it's
Look at that flex.
Are they both off the call already?
Yep, they're both. Jake's just lower down.
I think it'd be interesting if he chooses not to run the Alolan Raichu. Because my guess is he probably thinks he's going to run it in every match now and try to counter it. But
get in their head.
I would like to see an action, though.
Oh, maybe I was recording it. I was just going to say I don't have footage to bring to the judges, right? You got to record your games in every tournament. And maybe I did record it. I thought I didn't. Oh, I coincidentally was screen recording for 31 minutes.
Oh, wow. Okay. Okay, he's going to lead with Vigor off here. Let's see if he leads with... Surprised not the Fortress lead. Especially you might consider leading with Alolan Raichu. Nope.
Here.
Good pick. Good pick.
If you're on the East Coast, it's 11:45, right? Open your gifts.
Yep, good point. All right. No shield? I've seen okay, here comes... Oh, man. Barely gets off that body slam. It would be disastrous if he couldn't get off that body slam.
Fortress.
No shield for sure. Let's see how much one shield versus switch advantage matters here. Knocked out. This is it is a bad matchup, but I'm not sure it's worth leaving for.
My guess is he might have a Alolan Raichu in the back. That would be good against Jake's Knocked-Out.
Load up, right? I think that's the appropriate move there.
And then switch out for the mirror.
Oh, yeah, let's see.
Make sure he at least had the Earthquake ready to go.
Oh, here we go.
Hit the Sky Attack. This is not gonna faint it though. Thunder Punch. Ooh, it's close though. Sky Attack. Oh no! What did he do? Psychic. It's resisted. Oh no.
Yeah, my guess is I guess thinking that the Sky Attack is resisted
too. But
yeah. I wonder what would have done damage, but
okay, here.
Oh,
this is okay. It forces shield or let it get KO'd, and then.
But yeah, he's got energy built in. Yeah, I think it's this Knockouts could probably get to at least 2 more charge moves.
It's a lost matchup. From our discussion earlier too, with Nightshade versus Sidekick on Noctowl, we saw what it came down to. I mean, how would it even have made a difference if he had Nightshade?
I doubt it
for the Alolan Raichu.
I don't think it would make a huge difference in that particular scenario. I think that knocked out with too much health, but potentially, it's too much health. But potentially the better play was trying to feint down the Raichu with bug bites, as opposed to feinting down the Raichu and then loading up to two charge moves. But in that case, Heavy Slam would actually have helped him, because then he could have loaded up to 2 charge moves and then baited with Heavy Slam and then hit it with Rock Tomb, but it probably wouldn't have done enough damage to take out the Noctowl. But in that case, like if he thought that he had a lone Raichu in the back, coming in with Noctowl would have been better. Maybe, I don't know. It's tough to say. He lost switch advantage, so not really much he can do there.
I think Drake's struggling right now to figure out how to beat these the Alolan Raichu, which is why I think that's why he's bringing Sceptile in the back.
Yeah, Sceptile and Lantern.
Yeah, it's gonna be a little tricky to counter Vig in this situation.
Yeah, he's committing to like using like 1.5 Pokemon to take out Vigoroth, because for sure, like they're gonna bring Vigoroth.
Oh, maybe not.
Ooh, oh, he might. Oh, let's see here, if he stays in or not. He's gonna hit this Thunderbolt here. I expect his shield to come up.
Oh, see, this is tricky because
John
thinks that he has a Vigoroth in back, which is why he's trying to keep this Heracross alive. Okay, this is
Sceptile here. Sceptile time. Wouldn't shield here. Even a wild charge won't faint it. And then should be able to get to this Leaf Blade. And then, must have Noctowl? Oh, no, Heracross. Whoa, okay, this is interesting strategy here. And
he's
really
trying to
Noctowl for sure.
For some reason.
Yeah, I was definitely testing Sceptile wrong. I didn't use Leaf Blade. I was going Frenzy Plant.
Yeah, you gotta get rid of Frenzy Plant. Like Leaf Blade, Frenzy Plant's a more efficient move, but it's just so much more expensive. And not like a little bit more. Enough for it to matter.
Yeah, that's GG. I wonder why he shielded that Heracross the second time around, because he didn't really get much out of it, and the Noctowl fainted it before he could get a charge move off too.
Yeah, it's pretty much over at this point.
Yeah.
Time.
I think this is our first match which we don't see a single Vigoroth on either side.
Yeah, no Vigoroth strat there. All right. Good night, Amy. Amy's heading off here.
It's that Alolan Raichu throwing a wrench in everyone's plans.
You know, Jake argued maybe he doesn't have the Poison Fang Venomoth. Does he have a Legacy Venomoth?
I'm not sure.
He argued the Venomoth and then went Fortress, and I argued the Fortress and went Venomoth.
Okay, that was an interesting team there. Like coming no Vigoroth though is definitely was the downfall in John's team.
Yeah, and then his Heracross pretty much just didn't have anything to counter against Jake's team.
Okay.
Oh, he's going same team, same lineup.
Okay.
Same order.
I expect John to lead with a Vigoroth. There.
Oh, Venusaur.
Ooh,
he's laughing. He's laughing.
He's definitely laughing. And then Raichu's coming.
Oh, he gets his time to shine.
I probably would have switched to
Sceptile?
Sceptile for that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not a great matchup, but I was locked.
I wouldn't shield here.
Yeah, I was checking a minute ago too while we're watching this matchup. An unshielded Nightshade against the Alolan Raichu will do 63 damage, and then an unshielded Sky Attack against it is going to do
how does
40.
I said the shield come up here.
A considerable difference.
Okay, no shield here for sure. Let's see if he undercharges it though.
No.
No. Okay.
Doesn't seem like it.
No. Maybe
Yeah.
come with. It's tough here.
He's in a tricky situation now.
Lantern makes more sense. Like farm up a little bit here. Definitely don't shield.
Yeah.
Even if it's Wild Church. Thunder Punch. And then you got to switch it right away. Or commit to the Hydro Pump. No, you're not going to get the Hydro Pump. Switch. And then bait.
This might be bait too.
No.
Oh, no.
Oh.
He's on trade.
I think you got a bait here.
Yeah.
Let's see if John falls for the bait. To be honest, I wouldn't shield here because I don't think an Aerial Ace would even KO. Frenzy Plant. Is he at Sludge Bomb already? He is at Sludge Bomb.
Yeah.
Thunderbolt. I don't think this is enough yet. There's not enough to KO.
We don't even know what his third thing is too. So.
Okay, Gemma, are you friends with John?
Yeah.
Okay. I think John can share his screen. Let's see if when he comes back on, we'll flip it one more, and then we'll see if Gemma can get Oh
Yo,
man!
I count 6 water guns I didn't get versus Noctowl.
Oh wow! Okay.
That's
Jake,
a lot of water guns.
Jake, man, that was nice try on trying to come back there. Nice, like shield blade with the leaf blade, but it was like an uphill battle.
Yeah. I was not expecting a sludge bomb again after that. I thought that would have been a frenzy plant. But...
Yeah. I thought it was. We thought it was frenzy plant as well, but man, there was how much. Let's see, John's gonna rejoin the discussion here.
Did John use Alolan Raichu in the second match too, or no?
Yeah, I think he used it all 3 times.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Hey.
It's tough, man. It's tough to make. Okay, John, are you able to share your screen? Like share your phone?
Yeah.
You want to try it right now?
Yeah, give me one sec.
I gotta definitely say I was 100% impressed with how the Alolan Raichu performed. I mean,
Lone Raichu,
I feel
man.
like maybe I underestimated
John,
it.
Remember,
Because
you were so hesitant on trying to commit to the Lone Raichu. But
well, I put a lot of faith into Twastel.
When has Twastel let you down in the past?
Shout out to Twastel there. I mean,
right.
I'm impressed. I want to test it out 100%.
So Amy says
lead,
J
though.
Farm is too cool.
Yeah, those
Hey,
leads.
Bob, you've had, what was that? Have you had 3 leads tonight with Venusaur that gave you the advantage, or was it 2? I think it was 2.
Either 2 or 3, something like that.
John's voice is
Venusaur
getting
lead,
sore
all these
from all the
bugs.
laughing.
All these flyers, he leads Venusaur, dude. What?
Right.
That's crazy, man.
I wish I left my Noctowl there, but it is what it is.
Okay, John, let me know when you're ready to go to share your screen.
Yep.
You're about to go up against Gemma. You ready? It's an all-Canadian battle.
Okay, I'm just gonna share screen now.
All right. Okay, you guys know each other's teams?
No.
Okay, just say it in the...
John, I'll send you. Is it okay to put it in Discord, John?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'll put it in the jungle chat. I'm going to run the same thing.
I'm just going to get some water, guys. Be back.
I'm still gonna be running the same team. You need to resend it again?
Did you? Yeah, please.
All right.
Thank you.
I like that Venusaur
Do
you're
we
running.
see chat?
Yeah.
Do you guys know what their kings
Watch.
with 6 are? Oh yeah, you can't see it. Never mind.
All right.
We're good on that.
I don't like that hair cross you're running.
All right, guys. I brought a banana for
Need that potassium.
yeah. I'm expecting some good Vigoroth play. Okay, Jim, hop off,
What?
and John, turn down the noise.
Oh, yeah, right. Bye-bye.
Yeah, John, you can just turn down the volume on your computer, probably. Easiest. All right, okay. John with a nice clean screen, eh? All right, okay.
Beedrill with Sludge Bomb and Aerial Ace or X Scissor?
Right now, I'm running X Scissor Sludge Bomb. I think X Scissor is like the move that you need for sure. Like it shield baits, gets sick quickly. And then
Yeah, I was running. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was running a water gun lantern against a Beedrill, and I didn't shield the sludge bomb. It took me pretty low on health too, so
Yeah.
thing to think about.
So I run. I think the meta moveset is X Scissor Sludge Bomb, but you could run X Scissor Aerial Ace if you want to win mirror matches against Beedrills, or do super effective damage against other bugs, or at least hit Fortress with quite a bit of damage. So
But you definitely feel like you wouldn't go Sludge Bomb Aerial Ace.
you could, but when you run that, it also means that like you can get farmed more. Because I think I ran into that last night. I was like, oh, okay, that's good, because then I can farm this Beedrill for some more, because I know it's going to take a little bit longer to get to the charge move. Less shield baiting as well. So
Yeah, Air Ace doesn't do as much damage to without the stab.
yeah, it really sucks.
Yeah, it's just a bad
terrible
move.
move. I remember Mantine, whatever it's called, against a Ice Beam was better than Aerial Ace, even though Aerial Ace has stab. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, locked in. Looks like he's leading with it, Raichu? Is that what you...
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
John just confirmed, yep. Okay. You're going to showcase your own match? Okay.
Raichu, Venusaur, Noctowl.
Okay, Raichu. Okay. He's laughing already. Okay, let's see here. Watch, he's going to have a bug bite version. No, he's not. So this is obviously a favorable matchup for Raichu.
Yeah, he's got to watch out for that silver wind though, because
yeah, it's going to deal super effective damage.
One shot to Raichu, yeah,
for sure. I'm not sure. Counter confusion? No. Okay, he went Poison Fang. It takes 4 confusions to get to the silver wind.
It was a successful bait.
Yeah, but does the bait really matter if you're not able to get to it? You know what I mean? If you're not able to get second surgery.
No. I mean, in the moment, he might have felt, a little urged to, because he took that Thunder Punch and it hit hard.
Oh man. Okay.
Oh
man, I definitely would have shielded there, John.
Yeah, he was contemplating switching, but then just didn't hit the charge move.
Trying, yeah. Like, oh my goodness. Are you seeing this?
See what?
The amount of times I have to click switch.
Yeah.
4 different times.
Yeah, this is an uphill battle for you, John. Not gonna lie.
Oh my god.
You gotta win this mirror match to get this knocked out with significant energy disadvantage and shield disadvantage.
Shields.
god.
Oh my gosh. Jeez.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, John, you definitely needed to obviously frenzy plan here.
I must have a lot of energy on this Venusaur. They wouldn't let me switch.
Frenzy plan again. Okay. Oh man, it's chugging away at you though. Oh my god. I expect. Oh, he double shielded. Okay, interesting. I guess he's confident he's gonna get to it. Yeah, it's over.
Attack.
Yeah, John, I would have shielded.
I was shielded on the right shoe.
I was shielded Raichu and then switched. Yeah, it was a tough situation either way, but or shielded and did your charge moves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You definitely could have got to 2 Thunder Punches before fainting. You had a Wild Charge loaded already, and those counters not going to do a lot of damage. And you just did a Body Slam, so you definitely could have did a Thunder Punch, baited 1 shield at least, and then Thunder Punched again, and then potentially got another shield or something. But
Yeah.
we have Miss Mystic in the house. Miss Mystic's the one that part of the Silpharina crew, and she's the one that. What's the? Okay, this is terrible. Okay, Jake, don't hate me, guys. So what's the Mystic leader? What's her name again? Blanche. Oh my gosh, I don't know why I know that.
Cosplaying Blanche.
Yeah, she was cosplaying Blanche.
That was awesome.
It was awesome. I'm not a Mystic player, so I don't know these things. So. Okay, John, you're locked in.
Yeah.
No Viggy, right?
Let's see what happens.
Coming with 2 Vigoroth counters.
Yeah. Well, 1 true counter.
1 true counter.
Yeah. I probably would have led Heracross in this situation. Because that way he could safe switch the Raichu, but because Raichu Heracross.
Jimmo's running 2 grasses though, right? Like, well, Breloom's not safe switch, but
Yeah.
Venusaur. All right, let's see here. Oh, he's laughing. He's laughing. He's switching. Venusaur.
Oh man,
The luck
bad.
is real.
Yeah. I think his difficulty switching makes up for his advantage on every lead.
Well, how can you switch when you're laughing so much?
Yeah, right? Oh my goodness.
Sledge Bomb does a lot. I definitely would Sky Tech.
Ooh, that's probably frenzy.
It's a frenzy for sure. But it's a bold call if you don't do it. So
Man, but the amount of times I'm having issues switching though is crazy.
all right, let's see this here. Knocked Owl makes sense. I would just hit the Sky Attack right away. And then if I was Jimma, I would try to farm a little bit here. Until like just before. Yeah, so that was good. Oh,
Oh.
I would say I wouldn't shield. But I didn't want to say that to influence your match.
Oh, and then the switch.
Going bold, but the thing is that it's an okay switch too, because Jimma already showed. Oh, he did Nightshade. He already showed his Raichu counter with Venusaur.
That's true.
Oh my goodness.
But
are you kidding?
Well, you better.
No way.
Oh wow.
no. Okay.
Okay. Oh my goodness.
Oh, he's.
There's no way.
He has a shield too.
There's no way.
If he shields this, he's in trouble because this. Oh. Never mind. It doesn't matter.
I can't even attack.
Yeah, we're gonna
Oh,
see
man.
Heracross happen.
This is terrible.
Are you seeing this?
Terrible.
Oh, now it decides to attack.
Rest in peace, Heracross.
Jimbo doesn't care if you can't attack or not.
Jesus.
Wow.
All right, well, GG.
Jim was
We
like,
lagged there.
Jim was like, I liked earlier, so I'm gonna take over your entire team.
That was 6 water guns that he lagged on, so
Yeah.
a good take.
Should we rematch
That
it?
was
I know he's
crazy.
lagging
Rematch
there.
it, rematch it, rematch it, guys. Rematch it.
The problem is he knows I've got
Same
Nightshade
Pokemon.
now.
Same
He
Pokemon.
Actually, guys, I have to get off.
Okay.
Okay.
I think we've gone long enough
Thank you
anyways.
guys so much for everything.
So
That's
thank
fair.
you, John. Thank you, Caleb.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Jake. Thank
Yeah,
you, Jay.
no
Thank you, Best
Thank
and
you for
West.
having
Thank
us.
you for everyone that tuned into this live stream. Hopefully, it was informative and entertaining. Again, definitely follow these guys on Twitter. Subscribe them on YouTube. Putting a lot of great content out, and there's only gonna be more to come. So thank you, everyone that came and joined us and had a lot of fun with us. I really enjoyed it. All right, thank you guys.
Thank you, King.
All right. Bye, guys.
King, and make the chat.
Thank you so much,
Everybody.
King.
Guys.